This episode is also brought to you by Gillum Insurance, specializing in life, farm, auto, home, and commercial insurance. Give them a call at 740-395-0357 for a quote today. If you want to get treated right, save a little money, and make sure your stuff is covered properly, Gillum Insurance is Chubby Bartender endorsed. Big thanks to AP Prep. Hey, if you want to earn the day, get your ass over to AP Prep. You can find them on the internet at apprep.info. Earn the day. This episode is brought to you by your locally owned and operated McDonald's restaurants. They have been proudly serving Jackson and the surrounding area for over 40 years. Thank you to all of the communities that have supported us throughout the years. We truly appreciate your business. Get in there and try one of those apple fritters, man, and the other baked goods. The Mun's got it going on.
Hey guys, huge thanks out there to Geiger Brothers Construction, professional engineering and commercial construction. Hey, give these guys a call, 740-286-0800. Hey, you'll be glad you did.
David Gillum, ladies and gentlemen.
What is up?
We've got my cousin David, and we have the man, Scott King, with us. He is Chad Reynolds tonight. Chad has, he is busy. Chad has taken his daughter to Brown University.
I'm not cool enough for him to be here, I guess.
Yeah. He said, David's coming. I'm out. He said, I'm going to Brown. But he had to go to Providence, Rhode Island.
Wow.
I'm just going to do that right there. I like that a little bit. I got this new fancy mic stand, you see.
That actually, it sounds better.
Does it? Right,
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah.
Amazon?
Yeah.
Amazon sells everything.
Yeah, I wanted to get one of those ones I could move around.
I bet you could buy a monkey off Amazon if you wanted to.
I tried to get a monkey to come tonight.
Could check it.
I tried to get a monkey to come tonight. He had visitations tonight.
Oh, yeah. I saw it all packed.
Yeah, I saw I had people down there. Yeah. So I figured he'd be, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. I don't mess with that. But I saw he had people, but, we wanted to bring the man from the funeral home business. How'd that feel? Good?
Yeah, it kind of jerked my head a little bit.
Jerked your head a little bit. You'll get used to it. But I know you and I, we talk a good bit once every couple of weeks. We'll call each other. And you brought up a great point the last time that we talked. Do you know what and that's why I wanted to bring you in.
What'd I say?
About the the COVID people that are dying, or the COVID deaths. There's one thing that you're starting to see on that. So. I wanted to bring you in, and I know Scott had some questions for you, but we can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about.
Well, thank God. It's slowed down, the COVID death. I think we got hit like late November, kind of early December. I mean, we were number one in the state for crying out loud, per capita.
Yeah.
And we had, it pulverized us.
How many deaths? I mean, you typically do what in a month? What are you, about 40, 30 funerals, 25?
Oh, probably about 19, 20.
Yeah. There's about that in the county, isn't there? About 20, about 30, about 40 in the county.
I don't really know.
A week, something like
pay
that,
attention.
or a month, something like that. I used to know those numbers. Well, because of the life insurance stuff.
That's right.
But so you do how many a month? 20?
We do a normal year for us is probably anywhere from 18 to 20. That's both funeral homes.
Yeah,
that's
two
Jackson
funeral
and Oak Hill combined. Yeah.
So what were you doing there?
I had the busiest. 2020 was the busiest year in my 15 years.
Yeah, you've been at it 15 years now.
Mm-hmm.
God.
And I don't know if overall, I don't know where the numbers were, but in 15 years, busiest year.
So just in case nobody knows, this is David Gillum from Lewis Gillum Funeral Home in Jackson and Oak Hill.
And
he is the local mortician, funeral director, whatever you want to call it. What's the proper word?
I've always just said Undertaker. I don't know why.
Why, you big wrestling fan?
I used to be a big Undertaker wrestling fan.
Yeah.
You have to love the Undertaker.
Oh, you have to.
Remember Paul Bear? Remember the guy that was with him?
Mm.
Yeah.
I was big into that, bud. Don't you remember me and Kranitz and Jay and all them boys?
Yeah. And Cousin Adam used to have the little cards. Remember the trading cards?
Oh yeah. Hey, remind me to tell a story about Cousin Adam, and I got to give it to him. I'm proud of him for what he did yesterday on Facebook. But it was a good story. I tell you, man, we're into this. You want some bourbon?
No, thanks.
Scott, bourbon?
I'm good.
No, thank you.
Man,
I thought you wrote that off.
Well, I've had a good day, so I'm going to go ahead. Man, I've had a great day. Did you notice how pretty it was today?
Yeah.
My God, it was a beautiful day, wasn't it?
It was nice.
Beautiful day. That's why I keep doing that. Hey, I got my signature hat backward thing. But yeah, I've had a great day, man. Well, I'll tell you what I did last night. I stayed up all night. Didn't mean to. Stayed up all night. Didn't go to bed till like 5 a.m. this morning.
Why?
I got engulfed into Cobra Kai season 3.
Oh, no.
Watched the whole damn thing. Me and Travis Hughes went.
You binged it.
Oh my God! Me and Travis Hughes
definition
got
of
up
binge.
yesterday morning. And we took about I think it was about a 6-mile hike out Opal Falls. We did some mushroom hunting. Did you see them tree oyster mushrooms?
I seen your pictures up. Yeah.
So me and Travis went out there yesterday morning. So whenever I got home last night, me and Mindy had to go pick up my deer in Galples and, just getting some stuff done with stockroom, calling some. We're in a mess down there as far as we're trying to get some people hired, which is a big struggle for a lot of people. But we're not in a mess, but I need people.
Yeah.
And so I was doing all that. So then about 10 o'clock last night, and this always happens to me. I don't know if this happens to you guys or not. About 10 o'clock, I was laying there. I told Mindy, Gibson went to sleep, and I was like, hey, man, I'm pretty tired too. And next thing I know, I go out. I wake up, and it's like 11:45. So I'd slept just long enough.
But you're wide awake.
There it went.
I hate that.
Cobra Kai season 3 started up, boys. Let's go. Let's watch all episodes right now. I was like an episode and a half in on that thing, and that's what's great about Netflix. You can just log back in wherever you was and take right
Keep
back
going.
off. And so I got like 6 episodes in, and I was like, it was like 5 a.m.
I did that with a show called Kingdom. Have you seen Kingdom?
Yeah, I've seen Kingdom. Yeah.
That one engulfed me. I loved it. Now it's a little off color.
Was it a religious one?
No, it's about like mixed martial arts and like gym life
Yeah, okay.
and like all the drama.
You an MMA guy now?
Oh, dude, I've watched that for years.
All right.
I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
I do too. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Huh.
You have to love that.
You
stuff.
have to love that stuff.
I mean, you got to.
Yeah, we got to talk about that too tonight.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of stuff we can talk about. You want a cigar?
No thanks.
Yeah, I just do it.
I'm
up
already
here.
coughing enough as it is.
You are, Scott, cigar?
No, thank you.
Man, geez,
I've
I'll
got
tell you what.
I brought coffee. We're boring, aren't we?
I feel
He
like
told me weeks ago. He said if your last name is Gillum, you should be banned from liquor. And I said I could have told you that 15 years ago.
yeah. Hey, this is all I'll drink tonight, and then I'll be back over here on my coffee. I brought coffee. I'm trying to prove the point that I can just do one.
Hey, good for you.
Now I haven't proved it yet, so just relax. Unless Tyler grabs that bottle. But so yeah, we got all kinds of stuff to talk about. But so I watched that Cobra Kai last night. That was great. So then today I went to bed at like 7 o'clock this morning. Like I fell asleep at
You
like
literally watched the sun come up.
No, sun don't come up till about 8, about 10 to 8 probably. Right now it's about 10 to 8.
Yeah, right around there. It starts getting daylight.
But I just slept till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then got back out. I'll go to bed at 9. I'll be good. But
You get back in cycle then.
I'll get
You
back
didn't
in
sleep
cycle.
all day,
Yeah,
so
I
that's
haven't
good.
slept all day, and I've just I've been outside a good bit today. Went and got me a load of firewood, and it was just messing around. Me and Gibson worked on the fence. And I had some fence issues I had to get fixed, and just had a good day. You're gonna make fun of me. I've taken another deep dive with a musician that I had no intentions on, and I almost am embarrassed that I'm listening to so much of this guy's stuff this weekend, mainly today.
Who?
Colt Ford,
I don't really even
like
know
the
who that is.
rap country. But it's I swear to you, I know. Make fun of me if you
I'm a
will.
little shocked by that.
Me too. It's not my thing.
Next you're being the gangster rap again.
But
so-
I was just in such a good mood today, and it's like he's got some feel good stuff, I mean, not necessarily the the deepest stuff you're going to get to, but
Did he have a bus come through town a couple years ago?
I think so.
And people were at the
No.
gas stations peddling
I
the
remember
CDs?
those guys. Yeah, those
Okay.
guys were quacks. Yeah, they were.
Hope I just didn't destroy somebody's car.
No, I know. I forget that guy's name. That guy was a quack. They were bootlegging and the guy didn't even know. The
Okay.
guy that they were bootlegging. I remember those guys. They were at
up by
Yeah, they were all. I see
Yeah,
the filling station,
yeah.
and they were like there all day.
they had
and
on
they
belt
made some-
buckles and all that stuff.
Oh, they were decked
Yeah,
out,
and they had
yeah.
the picture of the guy on the van
on the side of the
yeah.
like the wrap on the.
I forget it.
you know.
I bought one of them CDs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, they got $10 off me. Yeah.
You're a generous guy, you know.
Yeah, I thought, well, maybe this guy's the next big thing. But no, but he was somewhere close. I feel like that Colt Ford was. So I never was a Colt. I mean, that's just not that whole rapping country thing. But what I've noticed, like today, sun was out. I was kind of grooving. I was wanting to feel good. I've been listening to a ton of podcasts, and today I just needed some upbeat music.
Yeah.
So I actually found this is where it gets really embarrassing, cousin. Okay, this is where it gets real embarrassing. Okay, where I found this Colt Ford music.
Where?
TikTok.
That says more about you than it does Colt Ford.
Well,
I think.
Gibson had wanted to make a TikTok video, so we made Gibson a TikTok video, and I was looking for music, and I picked this song, and I was like, well, who is that? And I was looking at this Colt Ford, and I was like, that's pretty jamming little tune.
You ought to start rapping, dude.
Nah.
That's your thing.
You think so? You think you
hey,
turn this into a
Pud's the
rapper?
rapper, bud.
I've wore a lot of hats. Might as well grab that one. Yeah. I tell you, you know what I do want to do, and then we got to switch back over to you. But you know what I do want to do one of these days? I want to try comedy.
I'd say you could pull that off.
I think I could do a 3 minutes or so.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen enough of them now. I think I could do a little bit. No, I say that. Yeah.
So my daughter, for Christmas last year, she wanted this little microphone stand. It's like a little mini comedian set.
Uh-huh.
And dude, she'll get on the microphone. She's got her iPad, and like there's a button you can hit, and they'll applaud.
Oh yeah.
And she would do little comedy
Little skits?
Like comedy karaoke.
And dude, it was hysterical. Like she'd go for like 5 minutes, and I'd just be in stitches, man. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, she was like 7 years old, sitting there doing a comedy skit, and I was like, this is awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Gibson, Tyler, he goes, hey, you're going to ruin Gibson whenever I come up here, because Gibson's been on Facebook so much.
Hey, I told you the other day he's going to be a salesman, man. I'm telling you.
But he likes to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, he goes out and, he's trying hunting stuff with me. And it's like, so he's wanting me to do these YouTube videos. And I'm like, hey, if you want to do one, let's do one, buddy. I mean, and it's not like they're stupid. I mean, he's actually trying to be informative.
Oh, Kat loves him.
Yeah, I mean, people like it.
She says, there's another one up.
Yeah.
He's hysterical.
That deer heart video, boys, he was jacked up about that deer heart. Then after he got to eat it, he was like, ah. But hey, I'll give him this. He tried it, didn't he?
He did.
He tried it. So, but anyway, so you do about 240 funerals a year. Between, and so that's.
I don't know if that's real. That's kind of high average.
Yeah, you're over 2. You're over 200.
We're over 2.
Yeah, you're over 200. And that's in a population of, what would you say, David? Probably
Well, countywide,
24,000, 23,000.
Countywide, we're 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of over 32.
So take 8,000 off of that for the Wellston side or that side of the county.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm just talking population. So you're in Jackson and Oak Hill, so that would be I'd say
that's a pretty broad area.
It is a pretty broad area. So I mean, what is that, 1%? 200? If you did 200 and there's 23,000 there, that'd be something like that. Yeah, 2,000 be 10%, so 200 be 1.
Yeah.
So here you go. Here's your stats. So what did you do?
Look how quick that was solved.
Did you see? What did you do? So how many you think you did in 2020?
Oh, we did. I would say we were pushing 240, 245, almost 250.
So probably, you're probably roughly doing 210, 200 maybe a year on average.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing,
Now, forgive the coughing, by the way. I'm going to try not to hack here. And I'm not sick, just so you guys know.
You've already had
sick.
COVID.
I've already had the COVID, yeah.
Yep.
But that wasn't COVID. COVID really didn't drive our numbers up all that much.
What did?
I just
Quarantine.
Probably, man.
See, I was looking at that the other day. I was just thinking, I was like, did I notice like an abundance of like car wrecks or like suicides? And I can't say that I did.
Suicides nationally are
Yeah, but how was they
through the
locally?
roof. We had a few.
You had a few.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they deeming? I mean, they're deeming a suicide, hanging, gunshot. What are they calling ODs? What are they calling them on the death certificate? I haven't looked lately.
What do you mean? What they calling them?
Yeah, are they calling them overdoses on the death certificate?
Yeah.
Are they?
And that whole, like, I was always told that people were dying of other things, but on the death certificate they were putting COVID.
You see them all.
That's not been here.
Yeah.
If that's happening, it's not here. I've not seen it. So, which is a good thing. Of course, you don't want COVID on there if it's not COVID. So,
so you physically, like, are you the one that the funeral home actually starts the death certificate process?
Yes.
So to let people know, not that we're a news station, but we're talking about, so somebody dies. You're the one that goes and, they call the coroner, they do whatever they got to do there to get you pronounced dead. Okay. And then they call you.
Yeah. See.
Or is that a conjunction?
When I lived in Cincinnati had their own coroner's pickup team. So
okay. So you went to the morgue?
We just would go to the morgue. Well, of course, Jackson doesn't have a morgue. So the coroner will bounce back and forth between funeral homes to do those pickups, and we will go to the scene.
Yeah, I went with you.
Yeah, and we will. I mean, that's one of the things about the job that going from Cincinnati
to here,
and I saw some pretty crazy stuff there, especially in mortuary school, because in mortuary school, they the bodies they brought in for us to work on. I'm talking plane crash victims, kids, 20, 30 bullet holes in them from like gang violence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And funeral homes don't want to, these embalmers didn't want to touch that. So, hey, we'll send them to the mortuary school and the students will do it. And it's like $250.
So how do they pay? So but wouldn't you have to sign that off at death? Or no, you're still getting buried there, right? So like, how like at
now, and we have a professor right there, and he's making sure that we're not like.
But do you have to deem that you're donating your body as a cadaver?
You're not donating.
You're not because you're actually.
We're acting as the embalmer.
Yeah. So like, if you're going to college, I know in college, my college roommate was to be a doctor. Mm-hmm. Well, they had to pay for their cadaver.
I know you're talking about Chamberlain.
Yeah. So I didn't want to mention your name, but they my ring ID keeps going off my alarm at my house, but my wife's there. But they used to. I know he had to pay for his. Now that I think that they would. I mean, that cadaver was there for a period of time, and they were essentially dissecting it. So you had to okay that, or your family member. So you didn't have to.
We embalmed those cadavers for those guys.
Yeah,
and that was a whole different realm of embalming because you weren't going for looks. You were going for
preservation.
Preservation. How long can I keep this person? Intact.
Yeah.
And that was crazy, man.
I bet it was.
Because you're literally pumping people up. I mean, you're swelling them up, trying to get as much fluid as you can in them. I didn't like that.
What kind of fluid are you putting in them? Embalming fluid?
Yeah.
What's that? What is that?
It's formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde. What does it do?
It's disinfection, preservation.
So like it'll go through your arteries?
Mm-hmm. So what we do is, a lot of people think embalming is like real.
I thought you just hit them
brutal, and it's not, dude. It's actually pretty.
It's jug. I thought you jugged them.
Yeah, you go along the clavicle, make about a 3-inch incision, and you will go in, pick up the carotid, and you actually put a hose. It's got a little hookup, but you put
it's kind of like the dentist nozzle.
Yeah, it's like a 90-degree.
Yeah,
it's called a cannula.
The rinse. It's kind of like the rinse dentist thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that goes in, you tie it off, and as you push embalming fluid in through the artery,
it's flushing the rest of the
exactly.
Fluids. Okay.
So you have a vein cut, and it's pushing blood out.
Oh, so you're just
So when you're about done because
you're flushing.
Blood will kind of let up, and you'll notice you're getting a lot of fluid back out.
It's like cleaning keg lights.
Yeah.
There's where the chubby bartenders, folks. We can do it all. I mean, hey,
it's like if
David needs, if he needs somebody pumped up, hey, we got you. I can clean a keg light, So you'll go down. I mean, so do you? I guess I don't know. If I go too far, stop me. But
Okay.
I think our people will want to know this. Yeah, this is interesting stuff.
Well, it is. And I thought, well, what are the parameters tonight?
Yeah.
When I found out who he was bringing on, he asked me to come in. I thought, what's he want me for?
Casual conversation.
Either David's going to really get out of hand and get wild. In that case, I'm going to need help. Or he wants me to interrogate him.
Yeah.
But when I came upstairs, I didn't see a water board or anything. So maybe he just wants to visit
Yeah,
for a while.
I don't see any shock paddles or anything.
So we're good.
Yeah.
But, I was curious, too. Like, we want to keep it lighthearted, but, man, I've got questions.
Hey,
and I think everybody out here
I mean, the
has
last thing I
questions,
want
too.
to, I don't want to disrespect anybody, and
Yeah.
we
Right.
won't.
No,
it's
no,
not like
no.
we're talking about any specific individuals here.
No.
And
Now,
it's.
you remember old Fred when you cut him open? No, I'm just playing. I don't know. You remember Jimmy? You remember old Jimmy? There, we cut open old Jimmy. I was down there with him.
We're crossing the line.
Yeah.
He's had too
So
much to
are
drink.
you doing that elevated? Like whenever you bring somebody in and you do that, are you doing, like, how does that work? No, or it's probably a pump system, so you probably don't have to be. So if you
Oh,
tie
yeah,
one,
I mean, there's an embalming machine
yeah.
that has a pressure. I mean, you're
Yeah.
using pressure, and so
So what happens from here up if you're right here?
it's a good question.
Uh-huh.
So when I'm usually on this side.
If you're
On the
laying
right
down,
side,
you're gonna be
yeah,
on the right
that's
side.
usually where we're using. Now, if that doesn't work, I can go pick up a femoral artery, an axillary artery, or
Yeah.
we can jump over to the other side. But so this is going to take care of the body as long as everything goes as planned,
Yeah.
And you notice by their fingernail beds,
Uh-huh.
And here's the thing: so as you're doing this, you're massaging the person too, because you're trying to get.
You're trying to relax things. You're trying to.
Well, you're trying to like especially like that femoral artery. You're trying to put pressure on that.
Just like kneading dough, just pushing it out.
Exactly.
Keeping it
yeah,
open.
and you'll notice.
Oh, so so you're like pressing like
you're
yeah.
massaging them.
Almost like pressing dough, kind of, or
Okay.
something.
Well, I've got another question.
Yeah.
What about the other body orifices to keep things from?
I got a great
There
story.
is usually, thank you, Lord. There's usually not much of an issue there.
Okay.
Now there has been.
Oh, I was there for one. I know. Do you remember that time I went? It was me, you, and Monk. You weren't there. You weren't there. It's me and Monk. Monkey called me one day. You guys were working together at the time. Monkey called me. He says, "Pudge, what you doing?" I was up Western Southern. He said, "Pudge, what you doing?" I always wore a suit. Well, so did they. Okay.
So you were ready.
I was ready to go. I could walk in there and they'd think I was a guy. He said, "Man, I need your help." He said, "Why?" He goes, "I got a big one." So I said, "Okay." So I went with him and we got the big one. Okay. Get him out of there. We go down to the old boy down on 580. Down at Galplis.
Rusty.
Yeah, that guy.
Loudest
yeah,
individual
Yeah,
on
he
the
was, "Hey, Jason, what are you doing?"
This guy owned a
Yeah.
crematory. He passed away. a few
He
years
did.
ago.
Yeah, nice guy.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
But this guy owned a crematory
And a septic system. And a septic company.
and vaults.
And vaults. Yeah,
You
he
mean
sold
vaults?
septic tanks,
Yeah.
vaults, and he had a crematory.
My wheels are turning, but
So I'm sitting here. We are. Here's me and Jason. Good. It was like this time of year. It was freezing, absolutely freezing. So we just left the car running. You had to go in and get the key, and then you had to drive up around.
Had to go meet the guys up.
You had to
yeah.
go, So
They'd have they had two retorts. They had a human cremation chamber and an animal. And I went in there one day and he had a horse
wow.
laying there. And I'm like, and I just saw this big blanket and I was like, "Are those hooves?" He's like,
hooves?
Are
those hooves?
And he's like, "Yeah, it's a horse." And I'm like, "Okay," because you cannot cremate an
The same,
animal
yeah.
and a human in the same. No,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
like you will
Yeah.
get shut down right now.
You never think about this.
Exactly.
Stuff. So it's fascinating.
So he had one designated, and it was huge. I mean,
It was. You could drive a car through it.
You could put an elephant in this thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that big.
So-
Looked like a big pizza oven with a garage door.
It pretty much did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there a few times. I went with you guys a few times to that.
Yeah.
And so me and Monkey, you got no Monkey, and me, we are the two biggest talkers you ever see in your life. Well, we go in there and get to carrying on with this cat for about an hour and a half. Well, we left the car running. Body's in the back. Okay.
And you probably had the heater on because it was cold outside.
Cranked.
Oh, boy.
And we got out, or whenever we got back in, I opened that door, and I mean, it hit me. It had started like losing. But you're not embalmed. Are you embalmed at that point?
You can be. It depends on what kind of cremation. If it's like direct
I feel
cremation,
like we went right straight there from the house. I feel like we went to the house and then went right straight there. We didn't?
can't do that. No,
Okay.
that's
Maybe
against the law.
That's what it was. We went to the basement and took it out of the basement.
Okay.
Yep, and then packed it out and took it down there. Yeah, but I remember that you were talking about the other orifices because everything comes out of everything.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking it's all got to go
I mean,
somewhere.
sometimes it'll happen.
That was probably rare, wasn't
But
it?
thank God it doesn't happen very
This
much.
was a very, very, very large individual. Like whenever I say large, I'm talking like that's probably what got him. Like
Yeah.
just I'm probably bedridden
Just
because
obese.
yeah. Well, I'm obese, but I'm talking probably hadn't walked in a couple years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that, I mean, yeah.
So I
that
mean,
happens.
I would imagine there would have been a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and see,
small holes.
So there's a thing
like
that
power
we
wash
use.
the bus.
It's called a trocar, and this thing is like a big stainless steel needle. It's about that big around. And so when embalming is done, you put that like right above the belly button, and that's what actually pulls fluids out of your heart, your lungs. So whatever the embalming process doesn't do on your vessels, you still have.
So it's like the liposuction thing you go in
Yeah,
there.
I mean, you still have organs that have fluid in them.
Yeah.
So this will remove that fluid,
Okay.
and it just has a vacuum on the end, and it pulls fluid out. And when you're done,
Does it pull bowels?
Huh?
Does it pull like
Yeah.
your
bladder,
feces?
bladder,
Pulls-
bowels.
So it pulls your urine and your shit, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet that's disgusting.
I'm used to it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're used. Yeah. So so then you go do that, fills it up, or sucks it out, pumps you up. What about from here up? Like brain wise.
No, you don't touch that.
Okay.
Now, so his question was, how do you basically embalm that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just go up the artery.
Okay.
So you're going down first.
The carotid.
Exactly, and then you pull out, and now you shoot up,
Because it's
and it will clear out the person's head.
So those arteries? I didn't know this. Do they just flow one way? So you know how they flow, and then you push it in there, and it naturally goes that direction. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, as long
Like
as
if you're flushing that up there,
you can't put fluid into a vein and expect to drain out of an artery. It's not going to work that way.
you got to go to the
You
big
gotta-
and let
you
it
gotta go
go
through
out the
artery
small.
and come out of the vein. Yeah.
Okay.
And now a whole nother realm is if somebody's autopsied. That's legit. Like you're talking everything's open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brain's removed, everything. And
We
so
used to
that-
have to go up to Franklin County at the morgue
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sit and watch those and ask questions and document and pictures and that's a whole.
So are you-
now it's on TV.
That will make you, when you see that,
Uh-huh.
you think about your own mortality constantly.
Be deep. Be dark.
And I'm telling you, I mean, I still will experience that, and you just think, this is what my organs look like. And it's just,
Yeah.
you know.
I did that when I was
used to-
getting that deer the other day.
Well, it's kind of when I see that, I would sit there and you're thinking you're quiet and you're just letting everyone's kind of doing their thing. It's not morbid. You've just had lunch, or when this is over, let's grab a pizza. So you're already thinking, but you think, wow, yesterday at this time, they were
That was working.
just among us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
here they are splayed out like a fish being filleted or something.
Yeah.
And it's I have had
It's an
exposure.
eye-opening thing, man.
to that,
I mean,
yeah.
you think about, I'm not going to live forever. I'm going to die someday, And
By God, David's going to look at my. David's going to know what I had to eat.
On an autopsy, you do. Yeah.
I've told him, Monkey Brown, I want no funny business whenever I die.
Facebook Live,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah, they're going to go Facebook Live. You look at this fat ass, guys. I mean, You wouldn't know why Pudge died early. Look at this. He let himself go.
I bet you got some weird tattoos in some funny places or something.
No, well, you'll just tell everybody I do. Yeah, before you throw me in the ground. Yeah, no, I just got one.
Okay, I've got another question.
Yeah.
Organ donation.
Yeah.
So at what stage in death does that happen? Let's say it's a auto accident or something unexpected. Let's go with an unexpected death. And do you get them, or where does that happen? Does a team come in and extract those organs? Or?
There's a team that comes.
Okay.
And typically the one I deal with the most time, their name's Lifeline of Ohio. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
COVID.
That's what I get for going to the gym earlier. So these teams will come in, not to the funeral home. They come into the hospital and do it there. But I will say this, organ donation, they're picky, man. Like, they're picky. You would think they would pretty much accept everybody. They're very picky. Yeah. So, and what do people
usually
like
adopting
donate?
A kid, probably.
Huh?
Probably like adopting a kid. Like, you want to see what all that person's done.
I mean, like, of course, if you have hepatitis, if you have, you're automatically out. If you're over a certain weight,
if you have COVID,
you're out.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that could be a game changer.
What if you have COVID and you die? Can you still be an organ donor?
No, you'd be automatically rejected for that. But
so, like, if they got to do that autopsy or organ donation, are you embalming them? You're not embalming them.
Yeah,
they can keep an organ alive if it's embalmed.
Oh no! I mean, of course, the organ's already gone by the time we get them.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when do they do that? So like if you called for an autopsy on a guy, that dies tonight, you won't touch him until he's back.
Exactly. They'll do their thing. And then they call me. And
that's done in like what, Cincinnati or somewhere?
What, autopsy?
Yeah.
It's done. Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland.
Not around here.
No.
So when they send you off,
we use Montgomery County. Jackson County.
Do you guys transport?
Oh yeah.
Who pays for that if they call for an autopsy?
The county.
The county does.
Pays us.
So what if like
a transportation to the morgue, but once the body's released from the morgue, whatever funeral home is going to be receiving that body, of course,
they just have to go get it.
Yeah, they just have to go get it.
So you got paid to go take it.
Exactly, because we're helping the coroner out.
Yeah, but it'd be no different than if you resided in Columbus and wanted buried in Jackson. You'd still just have to go get the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like almost round two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when does the harvest?
See, he's a killer.
I didn't mean that to sound that way.
I'm trying to tell you guys. See what I'm saying? He calls killings harvesting.
When they come and get the organs, that.
Yeah, and again, that's not from my place.
Okay.
They don't. They're going to the hospital to do that.
Just like an autopsy, or just like a.
Well, an autopsy is done at an actual medical examiner facility.
But they're going to a facility just like that, right off the rip.
No, so if you pass away at Ohio State, and if you're an organ donor, they will harvest your organs at Ohio State, and then I will get called from that point and come.
What if you die at home?
That's a good question. I haven't really ran into that, to be honest with you. If somebody's
going to be an organ donor, typically they're already in the hospital.
Now,
do you deal with a lot of organ donors? I mean, every time I've renewed license, it's you always get this stuff.
Probably.
I'd say 1 out of 10.
I would say I probably deal with it maybe 10 times a year.
About once a month. There you go.
Yeah.
So if you say they're selective on what they accept, I mean, is there a cutoff? I've got my 58th birthday coming up pretty soon. At what point in time to say, you know what?
Well, there's
a nice thought.
They'll
we
do
don't
that.
want your stuff.
They'll do that. I'm sure you have to send them a profile. I
think they keep it.
Somehow they have a lot of access to medical records.
Oh yeah, because they've got.
So we don't know anything.
Well, see, it goes right back to insurance. So whenever I write your life insurance, off your date of birth, your social security number, and your driver's license number, I can pull your medical information bureau for life insurance. So that you're telling the state of Ohio, or the state, whenever you renew your license, if you want to be an organ donor, they've got that information
somewhere
on file.
Along the line, you have signed,
and you've signed
a release.
Maybe there's something. Or I'm sure if you're an organ donor, that's part of that form.
You'll probably be getting calls tomorrow saying that information is not true, but
you got to
retract that on the next.
You heard it here first, folks.
Piss on Google.
That's why we're here to help.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just here to educate. But
Okay.
that's where that would have to come from, though. I mean, like, I'm sure whenever you are an organ donor, I'm sure that's an authorization form. I mean, they're just not just going to stamp you. What if they had picked up the wrong stamp? They'd have to have that a wet signature.
So Lifeline, they of course they want you to donate.
Yeah.
So
they have work.
So if somebody passes away, there's a lot of times I've driven to Columbus before at 2 a.m. This is back when morgues were still open.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. Now they're not. But I have driven up to Ohio State at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm literally about to turn off onto King Avenue, and I get a text on my phone from the answering service saying, oh, by the way, there's a hold put on Mrs. Smith's body for organ donation. And I'm like, I just made this trip.
So are you sitting?
nothing.
But you got to realize you're probably only going to sit there for 2 or 3 hours, though. They're going to rip that out of there pretty quick, right?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No, I mean, people's been up there for a day and a half.
Before they take out an organ. Huh.
I guess I always pictured the, extracting the organ and putting it on ice in the cooler and flying it, or
Putting it on a helicopter.
taking it somewhere
yeah.
real fast to save this
It-
other
it-
person. And I'm sure
Maybe
happens,
they
but
do.
You know,
I mean, you got some of these kidney recipients
Yeah.
and donors. I mean, maybe they do.
do you have to mess with like those organs much? You probably never. I mean, you don't
For
see
an autopsy, absolutely we do.
I mean, so will you see, like, you'll look down, you'll see the organs, like you'll see them.
When? During an autopsy?
Yeah. I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
saying in your business. I'm saying in your business, do you see it? Like, what I'm getting at here is, like, it was amazing last week after now, I used to do this all the time whenever I was 12 to 20, but now that I'm 40 and I field dressed that deer last week,
Yeah.
I got to looking at that stuff, and then I went home. So, like, I removed the heart right there in the field, and I'm going back to, like, us, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying to figure out more about me and, not me, but, trying to live better and, see what's going on, because I want to eat better. So I wanted to eat the heart and everything, and, I'm pulling this thing out. I mean, you're talking about something been living 10 minutes ago. Now I'm ripping its heart out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, there's
Makes you feel kind of savage, doesn't it, though?
yeah, I guess, yeah.
My daughter was
Don't get
gouged
all
her
keyed
Sorry.
up, man. Don't. I just see how he gets.
That took a dark
See how
turn.
he gets. This is a Krav Maga, any boys. I'm telling you, he's a killer.
Hey, when's it harvest time?
It's the
though?
coffee.
When's the harvest? He might have scared me when he said that. I thought, God, I hope it's not tonight.
Wait, someone in this door, like, hello, Clarice.
yeah.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, fat guy, green sweatshirt. Take him out, Scott. I'm convinced he's Jason Bourne. I'm convinced.
Okay, so you're harvesting the deer.
So I'm harvesting a
And-
deer, and I was thinking, like, man, like, I mean, they were alive 10 minutes ago, and then that organ is not. Okay, but like, you could tell, like, whenever I took that heart out, like, you could tell, because I took it out with the intent to save it. So I had to take it out. I mean, you're not just ripping up in there. I mean, you're feeling around this thing. You're trying to get all that. Well, then I took it home and I ate it. Okay, and then I got to.
And I'm the savage.
Well, so,
Exactly.
But I was looking at, like, the fat around the heart, and, like, I was looking. I don't know if you watched that video, but we had to trim all that fat off of that heart, and, like, do you see that, like, ring of fat around your heart? And did you see how like, I could see. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm just trying to figure this out. But, like, I can imagine now if you now your heart was in, like, this sac. Now, I'm sure some doctor out there, can you tell me what that is?
Plural sac, yeah.
That's a plural sac?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, like, on that particular, now you're talking about a deer, okay? You're talking about something that from a standstill can jump a fence.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about something from a standstill can take 2 hops and clear a major highway.
A very lean animal.
Very lean animal, and I just thought, I mean, it was kind of fatty around this thing's heart. Like,
Really?
oh yeah. I
Okay,
mean,
now
well, you
that's
saw
kinda
if you go to that video and you saw. Did you see the video?
Yeah,
You saw it?
yeah.
And did you see how fatty it was?
I did.
Like there was a lot of fat built up. I mean, I cut that whole pleural sac off, and I mean that whole pleural sac on the outside of it just had a lot of fat. And I was like, damn, man, I feel really bad about my future because this is a deer. I was like, it's a wonder mine.
And he wasn't some fat, out of shape deer.
I mean, it was. I thought, man, and I got to think, and so it made me think. I was like, man, and then I was looking, I'd taken the intestines and everything out first,
you know, with your man, like in like your piss sack, bladder, yeah, that is not a very
I like that terminology.
tough. Well, it's hillbilly 101, man. That's not a very tough sack. Like that would be very easy to bust.
It's like
and
a balloon, man. I mean, it's a balloon.
Yeah, like
really
literally like a balloon.
It's a man. Yeah, I mean, it's
That's how tough that would be. Like that's how little it would take to puncture your bladder.
Yep.
I was looking at all that. You know, I had to stop myself because I was like, man, am I gutting this deer? Am I having an experiment? Like, I was like, getting on with this thing. But I was looking at all that, and I was like, man. So then I ate the thing, and I cut it open, and, like, I literally cut this thing into pieces. I cut the heart into pieces and ate it. And it just looks like one big, I mean, it is. But, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of stuff. It's just.
Now, a heart and a liver taste about the same.
They're the same color, too. You know, and they've got it had a liverish taste. Mm-hmm. What is that? Iron? Is that what they say it is?
Yeah, blood is iron. I mean, blood has a lot of iron in it. So yeah,
it did have like a blood taste.
So you think about it, a liver filters your blood, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I sell insurance.
So there's going to be a lot of. You should know that selling insurance.
Well, I mean, my God, if I do that, I'd be making a hell of a lot more money than what I'm making. If I was the insurance guy that could diagnose your liver,
I want to hear your sales pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, they call those doctors, David.
What's fascinating is you can smell the metal in blood.
Yeah,
I mean, I always wondered what it was, and then when I found out, I was like, "That's that distinct smell
and taste."
And taste, yeah, that iron, and it's crazy. Man.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably know this. You've probably done this to. I hope animals only.
There's a statute of limitations in place, and we should probably move on. But no, I haven't. I've been a very good boy.
I pictured Roadhouse. You know, he pulls that guy's heart out. Did you ever just eat one?
And I've got another question. Okay, moving on. After the autopsy, this is the part I've never seen.
Yeah.
Okay, and I wonder. I don't mean to degrade it, but the autopsy is pretty exposing everything.
It is,
especially areas of interest. If there's been a questionable, and so you really get into it. And we were always like, okay, thanks. Can you fax that to us? Back then, we emails and stuff. But you walk out. So what happens after that? Do they try and put anything back, or do you get it like, I just wonder. I'm sorry if this seems disrespectful.
No,
I mean, I think we're all curious about these things.
Yeah, I mean, if
you take a bag through TSA and blah, 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 and I would be upset if they just said, you put it back. They at least try and do something.
Oh, we have to
the way
put
they
them
treat
back together.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's why it's so gruesome.
Yeah.
Is because
everything has a place. It never goes back in the way it came out of TSA.
Well, and they don't care how they put it back in. That's the thing. Well, in different corners offices.
It just has to look.
Franklin County, I was never a big fan of theirs. Montgomery County, they do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And when the coroner made the decision to use Montgomery, I was like, thank you, Lord, because it made our job a little bit easier because they're a little more respectful there. So when you're autopsied,
not as much volume.
There is a Y incision made. Like they start here, comes down, and then goes down to your pelvic region.
Yeah.
They basically will cut the chest or the rib cage.
It's just like you get unzipped.
You get unzipped, yeah. And then, here's the kicker. They take the top of your skull off so they can get the brain out. Mm. So we got to put all that back together. And so whenever I get somebody, all the organs go into a bag, a plastic bag, and they will put that back in the cavity, and they'll do like a real loose stitch.
Yeah.
And
like a crochet more.
And I'm not trying to be disgusting here. Yeah. I just, people want to know this. So we then have to treat, it's called viscera. That's what they call the organs in that. It's an Undertaker term, I guess. We always call it viscera. And so we will treat all those with harsh chemicals. We'll hit it with real strong formaldehyde. Then we'll basically let those soak, and then we extract the fluid back out, and we basically will package everything back up. We don't put everything back where it goes. That's not.
I mean,
you're not a doctor.
No,
it's an empty cavity.
But you cannot bury somebody and not have everything there.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
it's got to be accounted for.
Exactly. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, because that don't go in the trash.
If something happens to you and I forget, let's say there's a part of you
Yeah,
and I can't go just throw it in the trash.
yeah, that's a biohazard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard a story of
But you would know, man. Yeah.
Yeah, like let's just put some of this information on the city's website. Guys, people, please remember, don't be throwing.
Appendages.
I got a big list. I'd like to see them not.
Yeah. Hey, you've been throwing your livers out there. Knock that off.
I could tell some stories,
Yeah.
but I mean, we just pick it up.
I'll tell you when it's harvest time.
Okay.
oh,
So
man.
we've really worked a long way through the process, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Before we leave, I want to talk about.
I feel like we just got started.
Well, we're about to open up another door here. Blunt trauma injury, head wounds, I mean, that stuff you can't. And then it turns into decisions and consultations with you. And the family wants an open, they want a viewing, or come on, because can we get into the preparation stage now for these, like makeup and?
Yeah.
You ready to go there, or do you want to go?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
hell, I've been in this. I mean, I haven't been in this business, but I mean, I know a good bit about it. I've been around it a bunch.
Kind of a voyeur. You've watched it.
Well, I
happen.
mean, he's my cousin, and
Yeah.
I mean, in the life insurance business, you're not really. I mean, at that particular time, it's not like you really have anything to do with the. You don't have anything to do ever with the embalming process. However, you work with these guys a lot, and you just kind of you're there so much, or you're around it so much. I mean, how many times have I brought people down there and looked at caskets with them that are living? Like
I was going to bring that up. If he had a new employee, he'd bring him down on the casket floor.
Oh yeah, I
to
forgot
just
about
show him
Yeah.
kind of here's what typical prices are.
that. Yeah,
So when they go sell a policy,
they know what they're selling.
people know.
Here's
hey,
why
this
you're
is what an average funeral costs.
you're buying that,
Yeah.
and I mean, odds are, I mean, either him or somebody I knew was going to bury you if you died, and you'd be amazed on people that call you in the life insurance business, like as they get older and they just want something to bury them. I still sell a lot of those, but I sell a lot of $2 million policies too, but I sell a lot of just plain old burial policies, and it's not to plug myself, but it does make sense. I mean, how much of your receivables a year come from insurance?
Oh, it's astronomical.
I'd say 90%, wouldn't you?
I would say I'd
Close.
say yeah, 70, 80,
Close.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, think about it. I mean, your average whole life policy, and I mean, people argue with me. I'm sure there'll be some investment gurus out there that want to do that, and that's fine. But think about it. You're going to have, depending on the price, but I mean, let's just say you can buy $10,000, $15,000 for $30 a month. I mean,
Yeah.
so you're going to be, it's going to take you, so you're $360 a year. That's if you're older. If you buy that thing whenever you're young, you bought one long
Still
time.
have it.
Still have it, yeah. You're probably pushing 20
Return
years
of
into
premium,
it.
right?
Yeah, that's
It's
return.
return of
You'll get all
premium.
your money back. But he not a whole. Yeah, you bought that. You didn't buy a whole life. And I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. But if you're looking at like prepayment on your funeral, you can either walk over and give him face value for that policy, for that burial. Okay, so David can work it up for you, sell you your casket, sell you your vault, sell you your headstone. You can do it all right there, right? Or you don't do the headstones.
Well, I don't do that.
Yeah, but you'll broker that out or send them
Yeah.
somewhere. They can or whatever. So all that costs money, and you can either give him that full value of that, whatever that cost, all services included, and it's paid for. So you bought it, and you might not die for 20 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's paid for. You're clear.
Yeah.
Okay, or you can say, okay, I'll pay the $300 a year. Okay, so so how much would if I was to walk in today? I'm just going to make an assumption. It would probably be around $12,000 from start to finish. If I didn't have any plots, I didn't have anything. I'm probably 12, maybe 10.
Yeah, 10 to 12. I mean, that's pretty fair.
I can get a nice funeral.
If you need plots and everything. you
Yeah,
probably
I'm not talking emergency situation. I'm talking if I want to make myself a nice funeral, get a nice family, or go in and buy my lot. Go in and get everything worked out. I'm gonna have $10,000 in it. Okay,
on average.
on average.
On average.
So every
Yeah.
10 years, I'm gonna have $3,000 in that policy. Well, if I die 8 years into that, it didn't cost me 12. It cost me,
Yeah.
$2,400.
Yeah.
So if I die 8 years in, so it's like, it just sometimes money wise, and most of the time you can what they call reduce pay them up. So after you pay $3,000 or $4,000, you're making enough dividends, depending on the company, to pay for the policy. So, like I said, I'm not trying to make that into an insurance spiel, but we worked a lot together, still do some.
So you've had a lot of exposure.
Exposure to it, and
the process.
And people, they've always been curious about it. I didn't realize that they just brought that stuff to you back in a sack. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. So it's about a. Now I will say that it's the time. The time of the whole ordeal seems to have gotten quicker, like used to, depending on the situation. I mean, if you got to get an autopsy or organ donation, but I'm saying, the average grandma or grandpa passes away or whatever. It seems like you used to have like a whole day's worth of visitation, maybe 2, then a funeral, and it seems like now not you, but the industry has sped that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course, just the culture has.
Yeah. They don't want to sit around and stare at somebody dead for 2 days.
No, the night before visitations and the funeral the next day, that is, it's kind of fallen off. A lot of times we'll kind of combine it. You have calling hours. Immediately at the end of calling hours, you have a funeral, and then the burial after that.
So your dad's was that way, wasn't it? Your dad's was a 2-day.
I think my dad's was 2 nights.
It was 2 nights, yeah. And then a funeral.
Yeah.
Yep. And I see my grandpa died right before that. And I think his was the same way now. Papa Gillum died.
Yeah.
No, my grandpa. No, yeah. My grandpa's step died after Mike, and but Papa's might have been 2 days.
Papa was like right before my
6 months.
dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then dad, and then
Yeah, it was 90, March of 90, and October of 89.
Yep.
But so since that time period, that process has speeded up. It seems like a lot of funerals back then. You were 2 nights of visitation and a funeral the 3rd day.
Yeah,
now
and of course you always have. I had one where we held the woman for 30 days.
Yeah.
Because the son had some golf trips planned. Didn't want to cancel his golf trips, and I'm like,
You charge them lot rent?
Wow.
I didn't.
You didn't? Yeah.
I probably should have, because the guy was kind of ridiculous.
Really? Well, you don't know if they get along. Hell, you ain't a family therapist.
But I mean, he was. Yeah, he had golf trips set up, and he didn't want to cancel any of them. And I'm like, you're gonna make your mom lay there for 30 days. And I mean, we showed her. I mean, she looked fine.
Wow.
Man, that brings me to my next thing, and I think you and Jason both do a great job at this. I've always been really impressed with you. I'm judging you. We're family.
Appreciate it.
I get to do that. That's what we get to do. And but I've always thought you did a great job on like the way you make people look.
Well, thank you.
And you get a lot of compliments on that, don't you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty good at that.
And I'm going to be honest, like embalming wise,
Uh-huh.
it is not that difficult to embalm. The makeup, oh man,
Yeah.
that's where everything is.
Because you're taking somebody that, I mean, obviously they're not at their peak performance.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard.
I
can't
never
save
know
him.
what's going to come out of his mouth next.
Is
So
this
I
not
don't
the
either.
truth? I mean, wouldn't you say they're not at their peak performance? I mean, but so you have to make that look good. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's a tough deal.
Yeah, and what a lot of funeral homes don't understand, not a lot of funeral homes. I used to work for a company, not around here,
Yeah.
and they, like, you would, no matter how good I made the person look,
Yeah.
they'd make me paint him like a clown.
Yeah, I bet.
And
Yeah, they
I
probably had a
hated
protocol
that.
of stuff that they
And,
liked.
and that was just their normal culture.
That was their look.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like this. Like, it felt wrong.
You know, though, I think every funeral home has its own identity with the way a body's going to look. As freaky as that sounds,
It's
but
like it's. I'm gonna take it. It's like respect, isn't it? For
Yeah.
that last act of respect.
But that's
and-
what got me, is that they wanted me to paint these people up.
they thought it was a craft.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
the hardest thing to make look right is somebody's mouth. Everything else is pretty easy. The mouth, dude, is hard.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get somebody's lips just the wrong way, and they would make me literally put like lipstick on men, like red,
You got to glue them, don't you? You glue their mouth shut.
not all the time.
How do you get that to
sometimes,
stay there?
What are you going to do if that pops open right in the middle of the blessing? I mean, what are you going to do if an eye pops open? You ever had an eye pop open?
No, I can see that in my head.
Have you ever had an eye pop open?
No. And I will no. Now overnight I have, overnight, but not during a service.
You walk in the next morning, you're looking at you. I mean, I'd sit down my leg. I'd be like, oh my God. I'd never go in there by myself. Without Scott. Scott's main job would be to get me in the door every day. Scott, if they come up out of here, I mean, what would you do?
Have you ever heard of bodies sitting up?
Yeah.
I have so many people. They're like, well, my great aunt back when she sat up, and I'm like, no, it doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
I've seen thousands. I've worked on thousands. I've never had anybody move, and if they do, I'm out. I'm retiring.
You never had a move?
No.
Well,
hey,
once rigor mortis sets in, it's
man.
Yeah.
I remember one time I killed a rabbit one time, and I throwed it in my game bag. And I got back to the truck, and we went and ate lunch. Whenever I come out of eating lunch, it was jumping around the bed of the truck.
oh yeah.
I mean,
Really?
yeah. Now, I'm not saying they would get to you before that would happen.
You're
You know?
talking 20 minutes after you shot this.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
That's happened.
or I mean, it's not uncommon for
Now, a friend
something
of
to
mine-
twitch. I mean, muscle reaction.
A friend of mine was working calling hours one night. A guy walks in the funeral home, shakes as my buddy's shaking the guy's hand, the guy drops dead in the funeral home. So
Wow.
he told me, he said about 30 minutes later, he said, I was embalming him. And he said his fingers, where the embalming fluid had kind of a chemical reaction, his fingers were doing this. But that was it. There is no sitting up. There's no moving arms. And I've had a lot of people say, yeah, I watched my great aunt sit up. And I'm like, no, that did not happen.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
maybe technology wasn't as good.
Well, maybe, but
yeah.
I don't.
It has
I
gotten
just-
better.
I just
You know it
can't,
has.
I can't see that happening.
Caskets and vaults have gotten better by far.
Yeah, but embalming wise, I don't think that changes very much.
It's changed. I think that industry's changed a lot. And you've been at it 15, and I've been selling insurance now for 16.
Funeral business. I mean, as far as us getting up on the times, funeral homes are kind of the last to do that.
But it has changed. The business
It
has changed. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying.
You got the rise of cremation, and you got the rise.
Yeah.
Of, now we have green burials, and
Are you having trouble getting caskets right now?
No.
Huh? Man, I've
Gloves.
gloves.
I have
Yeah.
a problem getting gloves.
Holler at me if you ever need some.
Really?
Well, yeah, I can get them through my food companies. You just pay me.
I don't want them plastic.
Well, I don't know what you're using. They're dead.
You need something like threat level 3 or something.
I don't want food prep.
Well,
gloves.
holler at me whatever you need. If I can get them.
I called my supplier, and we needed gloves
Jeez,
for.
I was just trying to be nice, Tyler.
Hey.
You're like, they're dead.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you worried about? My Lord, I mean, go ahead.
But I called my supplier, and I said, "Hey, man, I need medium gloves for a female that works at our company. She needed mediums."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nope, not gonna find them."
Yeah, that's tough.
I said, "Why, dude?" I was like, "We're in the middle of a pandemic, and you're gonna tell me I can't get gloves?" And he said, "They're all made in Malaysia." And he said, "All these factories in Malaysia are shut down right now."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "So what do I do?"
I'm running into that like kind of frequently, honestly.
Really?
Like it's going and coming and coming and going. Like there's been times that you can get them real easy, and there's been times that you can't get them for 3 weeks. Now, I don't have like 50 suppliers. I just have a few suppliers, so I don't. I'm sure there's other options out there, but it's kind of like a time thing. I mean, hell.
Well, I usually buy in bulk, big time. I don't like ordering a lot. I just like to buy one big pallet of gloves.
In your business, I would too. In my business, they walk out.
Well, and before
Yeah.
before this COVID thing hit, did you guys hear about the trucker strike that might happen? I
Yeah.
think it was like November 30th.
Yeah.
So I was seeing that, and I thought I better stock up just in case, because if trucks stop for
He's
3
a
weeks,
conspiracy guy. Do you know that? Do you know that, Scott?
Hey.
It just came out, didn't
Oh,
it?
hey,
See,
listen.
But we are too. That's why we caught that.
He's a conspiracy guy. Yeah.
Okay, so you stocked up.
stocked up,
And you got them.
Got them then, yeah. And
So-
now I'm running out again.
So, like, what are you seeing with? What are you seeing right now? Like, grave. Any new like developments as far as graveyards? Are they making? Are they doing anything different than what they were?
Nah, still burying people the same way they always have been.
Yeah, How much longer does the?
Have you ever really went and looked in a mausoleum?
No, I haven't.
They're fascinating.
Are they?
I was at Fairmount 2 weeks ago. We had like 2 grave sites right at the same time. So I did the first one. Second I was done with that, I ran over to the other one, and Jason Crawford was doing it. And there was a mausoleum right there. So I walked over, and it's like built into a hillside. I mean, this guy spent some money. I mean, this is a like a room.
Yeah.
And I think there was like 10 niches, and only 2 of them are used.
Okay.
So that guy spent all that money,
Yeah.
and nobody used it.
Can you still pull them out and look at them?
Like, can anybody pull them out and look at
I
them?
feel like there's a story of like somebody that like was buried with a bunch of jewelry,
I've heard some stories. It's never happened to
and
me.
then it was like a clear glass casket top,
Yeah, those existed.
and then that you would slide that out, and that person was buried. I heard as soon as they broke the glass, the body just went and just turned to dust.
The oxygen?
The oxygen hit it, and it just turned.
Now, I never heard that one.
I mean, I don't know.
I've exhumed people.
Yeah. Our great grandpa had to be exhumed, didn't
He did.
he? Yeah, Homer, didn't he slide down the hill?
No, they put him in the wrong spot.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think he slid or something, or like didn't somebody else slide down the hill and it pushed his down
I
the hill?
just heard this story.
That was a big deal back when it happened. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Well, as an Undertaker, the last thing you ever want to hear is, "Hey, mom or dad's in the wrong spot. We got to move them."
Why?
Well, because
It
we don't want
reflects-
to mess that up.
Yeah, obviously. yeah, you
Which
don't- but
thank God that's only happened to me one time. Yeah, no.
damn it, Bobby. David's got him in the wrong spot.
Who was working that day?
Somebody,
Well, I think
somebody
Pudge was
text
helping me that
David.
day.
Yeah, I think you were with me that day.
Pudge
That
was
was all
helping
your
that
fault.
day.
Put him
all
up
you.
there. All right, I tell you what, he'd like it right there. That's how I'd be if I was in that business. Hey, put old Bobby right there.
I'll tell you what's it. So, I worked on a guy, and I buried him on his own property. Like 10 years later, family calls, wants him cremated, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And they're like, the wife's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I can't stand it." She moved
We're
up
wanting
north.
to build a house there.
I was thinking that too. I just didn't want to say it, but I was thinking that too.
They dug their own grave. This is out in the middle of nowhere. They dug their own grave, and they dug it like literally. This grave was like 9 feet deep. A normal grave is about 4.5. It's not 6 feet. That's always been the old 6 feet under, right?
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, no, it's about 4.5. Well, this guy got real excited.
So the top of your casket's truly only about 1.5 under the ground.
They want 2 feet. They want 24 inches of soil, because that's like the formula for that's correct. Is 24 inches of soil is what I've always been told. But so
It's not very deep.
You're just past freezing level at that point, right?
Yeah. Just below the freeze line.
52
If
degrees.
that.
It's a constant 52
We'll be offering
degrees.
grave blankets on the Chubby Bartender's websites. That's why they call them grave blankets, folks. You're 2 feet deep.
Always learning something here.
Always. So
You got to make light of it. Hell, it's death.
this guy was 9 feet deep. We had to go. I went out in like August, dude. It was like 97 degrees, sweltering. The gravedigger's like, "Dude, he's not here." I was like, "He's here." I said, I buried him. I said, and the family dug their own grave, and he's deep. And the guy's like, "Man, he's not here." And I said, "Just keep going." So he catches just the corner of the vault, and he's like, "Okay." He's like, "I felt something." So we find him.
You're hand digging all this.
No,
or-
you're
No,
do that.
he's
I
on
was
a
gonna
John
say
Deere
that.
backhoe.
he's on
Yeah.
that. You can
And-
feel that.
Okay.
So
You can feel that.
I had to bring the vault up. We had to bust the lid off the vault. I had to open the casket. I had to take him out, put him in the van. I put the casket back in the vault, put the lid back on, and we buried it again. And this guy, I could have showed him again.
Wow.
It was insane.
Really?
And I'm the one, like, I like,
You buried him.
as an Undertaker, I thought, I want to see how he looks. And, I mean, he was.
You've only had to do that once?
So
You've only had to see how they look once after they're in the ground?
We've exhumed several people, but
Yeah.
I have not had to do many where we actually open the vault up and actually see what's.
So you're just exhuming the vault and then moving them typically. This is the first
we're
one
just
you've-
moving it
this
from
first-
one spot to another or one cemetery to
This
another.
first time you've ever
So
had
this
to miss
is
the body.
the magic of formaldehyde.
It is. And of course, everybody's different. Like
Yeah.
your fat content plays a lot
Be
into
freaky.
it, and like your water level of your body plays a lot into it. But I mean, this guy, yeah, it
So
was
he's bone
crazy.
dry.
So the second that casket was open, condensation, boom, because he's 52 degrees, right? Because he's
Yeah.
been underground. Well, then it's 97 degrees outside. So the second I open that, condensation instantly because of that temperature change. Besides that, and he had flowers with him, and there was a little bit of mold on his hand, and I mean, you could have just wiped it off. And, yeah, it's crazy.
Was the family there when you brought them
No,
up? Yeah.
no, and if they were,
That'd have been tough.
I would have really nicely asked them to.
Step back.
I'm like, guys, you don't want to see this, you know. But
So what
Then
do you
there's
do?
always-
What do you do with the casket?
I put it back in the vault and buried it.
Oh, right there.
We just put it right back in the hole and covered the hole up.
Well, Pudge, I don't think it's something that you can offer as like refurbished or
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean, you're not going to throw that in the trash.
lightly used. Or
Yeah.
Well, in that case, the vault at that case is pretty much done because you've already busted the seal.
Yeah.
And, you know, the casket. Hell is not worth
So
reselling a casket.
So okay, so let's say
it's not worth
let's
that to
say
me.
200 years from now that becomes a subdivision, and somebody digs up this casket and it's
They're
vault.
gonna freak out. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where is he?
Can you imagine? Oh God, you have to tell me. We have to leave this to our children at some point. Let Gibson in on that, and we'll write that
Hey, I
down
can
on where
take you a
that is.
trip. And I can show you right.
Yeah, say, boys, if you ever want to get a story, keep an eye on this piece of property right here. Now, it may not happen in your lifetime. To then tell your kids. Here's you can't. It's Gillum family secret.
So this kind of taking a little turn here, you know, down in New Orleans and places, Hurricane Katrina, and it washes all these graves up and stuff. That would be
So you can't do an earth burial down there much anymore. It's all mausoleum because of that.
yeah.
Which to me, I almost think a mausoleum would be worse.
It just traps the content right there as the
Because if
water's.
that building, if that structure gives away,
And sooner or later, it will.
you got caskets everywhere. And
They may not in our lifetime.
so
But
I was in. When was Katrina?
They've had a couple. I get them confused, but
Yeah,
yeah, just about every
So
year.
anyway, I don't know if it was Katrina. I was in mortuary school during one of those big crises, and there was a team called D-Mort, and so they go to plane crashes, they go to stuff like this, and they help clean up. And they did a presentation after a major hurricane, and they showed us pictures, and there were caskets in trees.
Wow.
Where a tree caught the casket and the water receded, and it just stayed there.
Stayed right there.
yeah.
So now we have caskets that a lot of them, there's like a little knob on the very foot end. That's an identification chamber where you will write their information down, stick it in that tube,
Okay.
and it's airtight. Seals up, yeah.
Yeah, they'd have to be
Copy a
pressurized.
copy a
otherwise-
death certificate or something.
And then, not a copy. It's literally just a little form. It just has like funeral home, name of deceased, date of birth. I think maybe a social. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even think it has a social, but
How long do you think? Like, I mean, I'm sure everybody's thought this. I know it's going to be forever, but like, I mean, take even your local funeral or your local cemetery here in town. How long till that puppy's full?
it's filling up, man.
Yeah.
So as you pull into Fairmount, that hill on the right,
Yeah.
that's theirs. So at some point they'll am I right?
I think you're right.
Yeah. And at some point they'll open that up. You still got the left side that they're still
To the bottom.
yeah,
there.
but now you
Yeah.
have that new substation
yeah.
down there, and that substation is going to take away from some of that. But you got
And
the
do you
right
want
hand side.
buried right there by a substation? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that's the next question.
So I have an interesting, and this might not be true, but that hillside at Fairmount, I heard there's so much iron in that hillside. It's one of the most struck places by lightning in the county. Have you ever heard that?
I've never heard that.
Somebody told me that.
I mean, I don't
Another
know,
conspiracy.
but I can see it.
It's
another conspiracy. David's a doomsday prepper. I've known this about him since he was a child. He was like 6 years old listening to
I
heavy
may
metal.
have about 8 or 9 months of food on hand.
Yeah.
I may.
If World War III breaks out, I'm going to Cousin David's house.
Now, and I may have a stockpile of ammunition too.
Yeah, I'm sure
maybe.
Maybe. I'm real good at the slingshot.
Now, I've not buried a school bus in the backyard.
So think about that,
made a
folks.
bunker.
He has lots of ammunition, and he can bury you.
Yeah, I know. It's like perfect.
Yeah. And if Scott's there, you're done.
Well, we've covered really a lot of the process.
Yeah.
Can I ask
I hope
something?
I haven't. given away-
David's really good, man. He's
Too much.
David. So's Jason. I know you two the best, but as far as dealing with somebody at the time of death, these guys are really good.
I appreciate it.
They are. I mean, I honestly,
dealing with him anytime actually is pretty good.
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
Yeah,
You have to put up with me at church, man. So
Yeah. So
how's Russ doing?
he's good.
he's good.
He's good.
Yeah, they're doing.
I've been thinking about Rob.
Yeah.
We all
Rob
are.
is.
Yeah.
Rob's
Yeah.
struggling, man. He's struggling.
Yeah,
So,
man, and that's it's a crazy thing. It's what's going on right now. Not to get off topic or anything, but
I think Rob can come out of this though.
I think he's going to.
I believe he's going to.
truly believe.
Yeah, I
he
do
can
too.
come out of
I
this.
do too. I think that right now, you got people are struggling.
Yeah.
Some people are struggling with this. I lost my uncle to it, my great uncle. Now, and this is what everybody says. Did I talk about this on the show before?
Briefly, I think.
Briefly. My he was 92. Okay, yeah, hey, whatever. Everybody's like, yeah, he had a great life, but here's the thing.
On the step side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. 2 months ago, he was fine.
Yeah.
Like whenever I say fine, like I'm talking, this cat was sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, he's 92. I went to his 90th birthday party.
Gotta stretch that leg out a little bit. The knee is giving me trouble.
I went to his 90th birthday party 2 years ago, and I mean, he was just like us. I mean, I'm not, obviously he was 90, but at the same time, he could have sat here just like this and had this conversation. I mean, he was fine. Yeah. So, health-wise, great shape, and then, he gets it and passes away, and it's just, it's crazy what's going on right now. That, and we've been talking about it a lot, but I mean, it's just, I lost. I won't talk about that, but, just what's happening right now in the country is just really, really.
Well, I ran my
crazy.
mouth about it at first. I mean, I ran my
Yeah.
mouth. I was like, this thing's stupid, and then it hit us because like it wasn't here. And Stan Lewis, I was talking to him one day on the phone. I talked to him for like 2 hours one day, and he's like, he came down for.
It's good you guys can talk like that.
Yeah, and he came down for a service, and he said, like, none of you guys are wearing masks. And he said, I kind of feel like you guys didn't take it seriously. I said, it wasn't here. How do you take something serious that's not here? I said, Columbus, it was there. Mm-hmm. And then when it hit here, our church was hit pretty hard.
Your church got hit hard.
Yeah.
And, I had, I think I had 8 or 9 calls in 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
I mean, I was almost out of room. I almost was busting at the seams.
Yeah, that's a stressful time. I've always admired you for that, cousin. You do a good job with that. That's a stressful time.
Well, I appreciate it. And here's the thing. So I had it.
I've seen you guys in that. Whenever you're just busting at the seams. I mean,
And you want to be dignified
Sure.
to the people. So you're not. People are like, I hate this term. You stacking them up, and I'm like, no, we don't do that. But so I'm going into all these COVID units because I already had it. So I was like, I'm not really afraid of it because I'm sure I have an antibody built up this
now
point.
your wife, it whipped her, man, didn't it?
Dude, and that she's in shape,
Yeah.
big time in
Yeah.
shape. And it hit her lungs bad.
Yeah.
Like she was 10 days, she was bad, like barely moved.
Wow.
And I'm like, it's coming for me. Because, she's right there. Well, have you heard about this type O blood being naturally, if you have type O blood, positive or negative. I'm O positive.
Yeah, I'm O positive.
And I was told if you're
even know
O
what I am.
positive, O negative, you have a natural defense against the virus.
That's
And
encouraging.
yeah,
I've
and
never
so
heard that.
when I got it, I was mild. I had weird symptoms. My symptoms were muscle pain, and my legs went numb for like 2 days.
Let's talk about that. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you in here tonight. You did talk about, you and I were talking on the phone a couple weeks ago, and you told me that you were getting over it, and you talked about your leg pain. And then so I started doing this after you and I talked, but I started taking aspirin because you were telling me how, like, one of the
The
main...
Amish.
Well, didn't you say that the bodies that you have embalmed with COVID, that the blood has been very, like, syrupy?
That is exactly, yeah. So we've been noticing, and before, I mean, when COVID was new here, we had people that weren't really dying of it, but they were dying with it.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed, their blood was dark and thick.
Like the
weird.
liver and the heart?
Like weird thick. And I'm like, man, this is just strange. And I think it's something to do with the proteins. I think COVID knocks the proteins out of whack. So I get these symptoms.
Big question for you. Tyler had it. He's a health guy. Did you have any of that? Did you have any, like, pains or like yours was leg pain? You said that you felt like your legs were going numb.
They were numb.
They were numb.
I
Did you
felt
have
like
any
I
of
had
that?
tourniquets
I
on
didn't
my
have any of
legs.
Yeah.
I panicked. Like, dude, I mean, I'm, and I know my cardiovascular system's in pretty decent shape.
Sure.
And my legs are numb. And it's 3 a.m. I'm laying in bed and my legs are
So
numb.
you're saying like you've been sitting Indian style for 2 hours numb,
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. However, when I stood up, it's not like I was. Not
You
like I
still
was
so you
asleep
still
or
had
anything.
your nerves and everything.
Yeah.
Your nerves weren't asleep. Okay.
So I'm literally in the living room doing air squats.
To get the circulation.
Trying to get
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I remembered.
I'm a dead son of a bitch if I ever get COVID. You ain't never gonna find me down the living room doing air squats.
I remember.
My wife would freak out. Would come down here. Gibson, call 911. Daddy's lost it.
He's
I've
doing
been
air
with him a long time. I've never seen him do air squats. He's down here, Gibson. He's lost his mind. Whiskey got him, Gibson.
If somebody was looking through my window, I'm doing air squats, I'm doing lunges, and they're probably and I got an iPad in my hand, looking all this stuff up, and so
You freak out,
dude, I freaked out. Yeah, I freaked out.
That's great.
And so I'm like, man, what if I throw a clot or something?
Oh, damn, I know.
Yeah. And I'm looking at all these articles are like, X amount of patients have thrown a clot, and this one said that they were thinking COVID was more of a cardiovascular disease than respiratory. And I'm like,
As you're doing all this.
bingo. Yeah. And I'm like, their blood.
Yeah.
And then I remembered an Amish guy saying it ravaged. We buried, we helped them bury an Amish fellow that had it. They said they all took aspirin. And I'm like, so I go to the medicine cabinet.
Oh, I've been buying aspirin every chance I get.
And I also heard
I'm taking
vitamin D. They say vitamin D is a big.
Yeah, I'm taking
a big
vitamin
thing.
D, C, and aspirin right now. When there's something else, zinc and
I heard zinc.
what else? I
That's
tell you
what I've
what's
been taking before this even began.
I tell you what's amazing to me. This is amazing to me. Now I'm not saying now in to correlate with this. Now you're probably around just as many people as I am with your funeral business.
Well,
But I'm around a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You're not.
I wouldn't. No, not nearly the amount that you're around.
No. Most of the people, I know a guy that got this that, hey, I love him like a brother, but he's not Mr. Social. Okay? And, he's avoiding people. That's just, he's a great guy, but he's not talking to people. Like, he just doesn't like being in social settings. And he gets it. And it's just crazy how, and then like you have a guy like me who's I'm in front of a lot of people. And I don't mean to be. I'm not purposely trying to be. Matter of fact, I'm trying to be, conscious of it. But man, do you think that's like an immune system thing? Do you think it's like
what blood type are you?
I don't know. I thought,
O positive here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the baby aspirin, I've taken a baby aspirin every day
I should
for
know that.
30 years, along
didn't
with
know.
other,
Yeah.
I called my mom. And my mom, I got the best mom ever. She's like, "Oh, honey, you're O positive." I was like, "How do you?" I don't know my kid's blood type.
How would you know that?
She knew.
Do you take a blood test?
If you donate blood, they'll tell you. Like Red Cross.
I need to go get blood work like this week.
Yeah. I'm A negative.
You're A negative.
Mm.
So I heard type A, type B, it's hitting pretty hard, not to scare you.
No, he already had it.
Yeah, you had it.
He kicked his ass.
I felt pretty
Did
rough
it?
for a week, 2 weeks, and I just got back into running here recently, and I still feel like I can't get enough air when I'm running.
So in the gym, that's one thing I'm experiencing is my lungs don't feel like they did 6 months ago, dude.
Agreed.
I mean, I felt good 6 months ago, and like tonight I was in there, and here I am coughing right now.
Yeah.
You know, I've been coughing all night, and my lungs, I feel like I'm at like 80% capacity in my lungs right now.
My wife worried. She's like, "Oh, you can't breathe." I don't have a problem breathing, but it's just like I can't get enough air whenever I'm exercising.
It's like there's a wall there.
Yeah.
And you just can't get past that.
Have you ever done any research on breathing through your nose? I'm saying, you think I'm joking?
Hey, listen.
Hey, they say it's a game changer, bud.
Listen. So you say this. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot.
Me too.
And he had not David Copperfield. Is it David Blaine?
Dave Blaine, yeah.
Is that the dark-headed guy?
Yeah, the guy that ate the fish.
So this guy can hold his breath for like, you're going to think I'm lying. This guy can hold his breath for like 16, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
That seems impossible. Wow. I don't know if I can hold mine for a minute. And and this guy goes all in. Like, he studies stuff. He'll stick needles through his arm, and he knows how to like bypass all the vessels, and it's crazy. And he was talking about how he's trained himself so deep in this breathing stuff. So I told my wife, I said, you got a guy like Rob Norman who's fighting. Mm-hmm. If Rob Norman, before he got sick, was doing breathing exercises,
What could it have done? Yeah.
could it have?
Sure. And who would think that? I'm not doing breathing exercises. You're not doing breathing exercise. Nobody does breathing
Well,
exercise.
Russ Strange said that him and Tammy, I guess, it was like every 10 minutes, it was like you take so many deep breaths or something. But who's going to remember that?
Yeah. No, there's a guy, and I don't know if I heard him on Rogan, but there's a guy. Did I hear this from Rogan about the guy that I think Rogan's got a whole podcast about breathing through your nose. Like, you will Dr. Pudge here. It's something about like it gives you more like direct oxygen. Like, your mouth is not meant for breathing. Like, you can breathe in your mouth, but it's more of like the overflow, basically.
Yeah.
Where like your breaths are meant to be through your nose.
I'm a nose breather anyway, I think.
I'm
for
a
the
mouth
most
breather.
part.
I was called Fat Massey. I said, you're just nothing but a big old fat mouth breather.
Like those long runs and stuff. Once you get to the point where you've settled down, you've got that first 2 or 3 miles, and then you can kind of start regulating. And I think of those pilots once they climb. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's all good. Flip it on autopilot, and then you can start thinking about stuff. And then there was a technique that we would use a 4x4. If you're in a stressful situation and you have the luxury, like, you have to calm down. You cannot lose your head, or you lose a lot more than that.
Well,
and
shooting too.
The 4x4. Yeah.
What's that?
Just like
4 seconds in.
4 seconds out, and do that 4 minutes. And it'll calm you
I've
down.
always wondered. You got these snipers out there,
got to breathe.
and these guys. I mean, these guys are just sitting there, and it's like,
think of that. I mean, there's
exactly
on a 1,000-yard
I always
shot.
heard you pull the trigger on the exhale. Is that right?
In the Marine Corps, we were taught brass F, and that was simply breathe, relax, aim, squeeze, fire. See,
brass F.
Hold it, and then once you stop, don't hold. You have to find yourself, and that.
So
just
what
comes
if you're
through
running
range
through
time.
the jungle?
Well, that's where you use the 4x4.
You have a 50 cal, and you
to
just pull the trigger, bud.
Oh, well, that's different. But I'm saying, if you're a sniper, I mean, because I'm open sight aim. I noticed that during deer season this year. You know, it always goes back to me and my hunting stories. But
The Great White Hunter.
the Great White Hunter. Yeah. But I mean, it's not. People, I always just underestimated it. Like, always just thought, oh yeah, man, I can hit that. But I mean, there's a lot to this breathing, and there's a lot to. I forget what all the benefits of this breathing through your nose were. It was like it was going to put you in deeper sleep. There was all kinds of health benefits coming from that. It was going to open up, like your brain was going to be at full function.
You snore?
I did until I lost this weight.
I snore bad. So my wife Amazoned all these breathing strips, and dude, my nose, it just pulls
Opens
your
it up.
nose open. Yeah, and it made me quit.
People are going to think they're going to start making fun of me before long if I keep talking about this. But
Oh, say it.
whenever I changed my diet, like whenever I started eating mainly just meats and veggies, and really been, I have to keep talking about it, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I've been wanting to do a plant-based diet. And
You're gonna go vegan, huh?
no, I want to go plant-based.
Paleo type
Yeah,
stuff.
paleo.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And the thing that I get mixed signals on, and the reason I haven't started this is because when I started, I want to do it right. But I would think I don't see any reason that I can't eat a grass-fed beef if I'm doing plant-based, because
You've got to have protein. I mean,
well, you got to have protein.
I'm just a big believer in
and
protein.
they're getting their protein from plants.
Yeah.
So this is not like I'm not eating any meat. No, I'll eat if it's a vegan, like a deer, or I guess, I think that would be a plant based. That's something that's living off of vegetation, nuts, forage. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So but whenever I changed my diet, that has been the biggest thing. I had no clue how long, speaking of that snoring, and we're obviously cousins, but, maybe this is a family thing because my dad's that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure your dad was that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure our uncles are that way. But, I was a snorer early in life. I snored whenever I was 12.
Oh yeah. See, I
But see, you weren't overweight.
yeah.
You were a pretty thin kid.
I was 135 when I graduated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was tiny. His chest looked like the inside of a spoon. That's how skinny he was. He was the skinny cousin. You had me and the rest of all of us lard asses, and then you had the skinny one over here. Yeah.
There's pictures of me and Joni at dances, and she's like, "You look like you're sick," and I was like,
He looked like you ought to have been in some punk rock band. Blonde hair,
had earrings,
earrings, and
all
stuff.
kinds of necklaces. Oh yeah, dude.
He wore some sort of hookah shell apparatus around his neck
I did, man.
for 10 years.
Dude, I went through a skateboard stage for a while. Oh yeah, it was, man. I was in heavy metal bands. Yeah,
he was rocking.
Now we're getting to the good stuff.
Oh yeah. David's probably the whole family, not the whole family, but the biggest part of the family plays music. And David's probably it's either you or your brother is probably the best guitar players.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Your brother's a different style guitar player.
So my brother was an acoustic,
He's good.
and I hated it. Well, I got into acoustic a few months ago, and now I almost think it might be one of my strengths now.
Yeah,
It's
I've
just
noticed your
finger
playing.
picking.
I've noticed your playing.
And but dude, once you get good at acoustic, electric's nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. And him and I played. He asked me to play. Me, you, and Uncle Jeff
We opened up from McGuffey Lane.
down at Stockroom.
Yeah, we well,
And-
it's the reason I did that is kind of a funny story, and I guess if you know our family, if you're one of those guys that's listening. So our Uncle Jeff played music for 25, 20 years probably. He had a band called the Holberg Holler Band, which is where our family was raised.
Okay.
Out Price of Switch Road. That's Holberg Holler. Okay, so
Bunch of rebels, man.
Bunch of rebels out there. Yeah. So anyway, I wouldn't call them rebels. They're really not rebels. Not then anyway. But so he had a band, and one of the songs that like you'll have the guy in the family that plays music, and if you're one of the immediate family, you're going to go through a few holidays where somebody hands that gentleman a guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was typically our Uncle Jeff, back before we even played, maybe,
Yeah.
And one of the go-to songs was this McGuffey Lane song. So whenever I started playing music, that was one of the songs that I always remembered. Kind of like that, it was.
What song was that?
The McGuffey Lane, Long Time Loving You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so anyway, McGuffey Lane we end up booking them through Lisa Warren's and the Senior Citizens organization. They wanted to host a fundraiser, and whenever they did, they booked McGuffey Lane. So McGuffey Lane was coming to Stockroom, and so I thought it'd be cool for the Gillum boys to open up for them because we grew up with them.
It's like the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
we're getting the band back together.
Well, our uncle hadn't played in 25 years probably or better, maybe 30. It's not that he hadn't played, but he hadn't played out.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to play with him. I wanted to do a show in there with him, and I wanted to do a show in there with David. He's too good to play with me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
no,
he's
I'm not. Listen. So he is country. I'll put him up against anybody. I am a
death metal
alternative in a metal player.
Now, let's just call it what it is. He's like death metal, like rip your face off.
It's more. Marty Jacobs called me a couple weeks ago, and he goes, "Dude, do you want to play some Jesus metal?"
Jesus metal.
And I said, because I guess his brother is legit.
Marty's legit.
Marty's one of the best bass players
legit.
You'll ever see.
Yeah.
And
bass players like unicorns.
you
can't
like
find them. Yeah, they're
it's
a
like
myth.
Sasquatch.
Yeah. All of a sudden they'll pop up in someone's dreams.
Yeah.
And then, but nobody else can find them.
Yeah. Marty Jacobs is a myth.
Marty's my neighbor.
Right next
door
okay.
to me.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, he's like, dude, I'm going to come to your basement. He's like, we'll set up the drums. He's like,
I can hear him saying this.
We'll ask Joni to leave the house. I'm like, you're going to kick my wife out of my own house? But I thought, hey, I don't have to haul my speaker equipment around. I'm like, dude, yeah, that's. But I got busy at work, and we just never got to make it happen. But I could see my neighbors hearing all this just metal, thinking it's probably some evil stuff, and we're singing about Jesus downstairs. That's the metal I listen to.
Yeah.
I'll lift weights. I'm sitting there listening to metal. My kids are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Listen, it's good metal. It's not demonic stuff. It's good stuff."
Give it a chance.
That's what I always said. Whenever I die, David will be in there with candles lit, listening to some death metal stuff, embalming me. Like, Dave, I don't know if I really want to check out like this.
No, because I'm at Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be lit up so people can see it.
Yeah, bring these lights.
Yeah, I need that one right there.
You need those lights. Yeah. I tell you that it has. I don't have you've got Josh. You got your brother. I don't have any brothers or sisters, and I have two stepsisters, but no like biological ones. And it's been nice with him and his brother Josh. I haven't played with his brother Josh in 20 years, but me and David, we've probably only played together, truthfully, 10 times maybe in our lives. Not a lot, but I can say that whenever we sit down to play with each other, there is a familiarity there that you don't. I can't describe it. Wouldn't you say? I mean, like I can pick up on what you're doing. You pick up on what I'm doing. And I've noticed through the years.
There's a chemistry.
So, the chemistry.
Yeah.
And I've noticed through the years, like we've gotten better. Obviously, you especially. And I
wish I could sing, dude. I got respect for you.
Well, I can't sing.
No, I got respect for you.
I will sing, but
you can play and sing, and I can't do that. If I sing, it's bad.
Me and Bart had that conversation last week. Bart Wiseman was on. I don't know if you saw his.
Yes, I did.
And I thought that was a great episode. But we were talking about that. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to, I tell this to everybody. You'll appreciate this. I've told you this story. I was sitting around one Christmas, okay, and all the Gillums were playing music except for me. And I just couldn't take it. I said, that's just the way I am, sorry. But I was like, if they can do that shit, I can do that shit. So I went home and I got a guitar, and I was broke at the time and didn't do anything but play music. So I started playing music. The next thing you know, we're all playing together. And I'm glad I did, because that's something that our family
And he runs his mouth. He was into metal at one point. You were a big Pantera fan back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Tool, Pantera.
White
Zombie. Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I was a big Tool guy. I was a big Pearl Jam guy, man. I loved Pearl Jam.
Were you a big Pearl Jam fan?
Oh man.
See, Nirvana was always my.
I never
yeah.
bit the bullet with Nirvana. It was just a little bit too, kind of maybe too. What do you call it?
Dark.
Dark. Yeah, maybe. I mean, they was just a little bit too unhappy.
See, like, and everybody's like, so what kind of music do you guys play at Elevate? And I'm like, think of like, it's almost kind of, it's alternative. It's like kind of, I'm like, not Nirvana meets Jesus, but like.
I'd say contemporary. And you guys do great.
Well, thank you.
You really. And
I'm impressed with Joni.
Oh,
Joni can sing now.
Yeah.
I mean, she can flat do it.
And she knows.
She's not trained.
I don't
I'm
want
not going to let her listen to this because you'll blow her head.
Well, she's not trained. I mean, it's not. I mean, I know what Joni's trying to do, and she's not like a trained singer. Like, there's a difference, and like she's naturally really good. I mean, because she doesn't know how. You have to be taught a lot of times, like Bart was talking about, to like really sing, like be able to sing harmony, be able to drop below an octave, be able to get above an octave.
Dude,
like it's not.
True.
People think that that's just something you pull out of your ass. That's not. Like, you got to learn that.
Well,
stuff.
I don't know anything about it, but she can do it all.
Yeah.
And they'll go from one set to the next song, and then it's just right
We
there.
were
It's
on a
perfect.
cruise ship, and there was a karaoke bar. And we walk in, and like we watched like 5 people go up, and they were terrible. You remember that? She bangs. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
So my wife can do Janis Joplin, and it's legit.
Wow.
That's a go-to for karaoke.
So the girl puts it on. Joni starts singing, and everybody went, because all these other were were up there just trashing these songs, and Joni just knocked it out of the
She
park.
stopped it right there, yeah.
And the girl's like, and she was like a Chinese girl, and she was like, "Will you sing another?" And Joni's like, "Yeah, I will tomorrow night." And like people were like coming in.
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Oh, great!" Like Joni's head's gonna be huge, and
She got the bug.
yeah.
Well, she does good. I mean,
I
here's
appreciate
the thing too about. I'll speak to Elevate. You know, it's one thing to get up at Stockroom or perform or somewhere else or at a karaoke on a cruise ship, but when you're in a house of worship, it's not so much about showmanship. I don't think any of that's going on. It's about submitting yourself and letting kind of things take a natural spiritual flow.
Take a journey, man.
And she's got it, man. I mean, she just ushers everything in, and then you've got all this excellent musicians backing them up, and it's right. So I would say contemporary. Would that be right?
Okay.
Would you say contemporary if you're listening to K-Love? It's just like coming to Elevate. It's like listening because you're.
You guys doing covers?
Oh
What
yeah.
you doing?
We don't do any originals,
I didn't.
which
know.
I wouldn't be beyond that.
I don't know if they're originals or covers whenever I listen to you guys, but I do listen to you.
Well, I appreciate
hear you on there. They churches. What Bart said, he was 100% correct on this. He said that you see a lot of people starting in church and keep with it in church because it's the most non-judgmental place, or it's supposed to be, that you can do it. I mean, whenever you go out and you start gigging in bars or wherever it is that you're gigging, they judge you a little bit. I mean, you can be judged. I mean, most people's not going to judge you, but I mean, you're going to know.
Yeah.
Where in church you may not.
I mean, yeah, gyms will judge you. I don't care what they say, judgment-free zone. Your workplace, well, you got guys who are people who may judge you, but I think for the most part, if in church, if you get close to somebody, and I don't even know if judgment is the right word there, like maybe it's for your own good.
Well, they're
like,
more
hey, brother.
supportive. If you're playing in church, they're happy that you're there.
I see you're taking
You
this.
see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, so it's like you see a lot of people like
brought it
Joni.
way out, but
you
you
see,
wanna-
like Joni may have, let's just say that she wasn't singing in church, or let's say now David, he's kind of done them both, but let's say that you're a guitar player or a singer and you start off in church is what Bart was saying, and you see a lot of those people stick with it and go through the hard times of getting better.
Yeah.
At church, because it's one of those places that whenever you sing, everybody's in a good spot to be supportive.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and it's
Now
like,
I see what you're.
yeah, so like
David can answer this, but I mean, I think it's a different. I don't want to say crowd. I don't want to turn it into an entertainment thing, but everyone's purpose is for something else.
Sure.
And then your praise and worship team, they're what ushers you into that presence.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, you're trying to build like an atmosphere so that Russ can get up there and people are focused.
it's a show,
And
right? I mean, I don't mean that in like a downgrading way, but I mean,
our
you're not
goal,
gonna tell me it's not choreographed a little bit.
Oh, we don't want to go up there and sound like
Sure,
garbage.
sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't care. Any church is going to be
but
like
I'll
that.
tell
You're
you
going to have a
what,
layout
though,
of your day.
Oh, your praise and worship team. I mean, I'm just going
Yeah.
to take a guess here because I don't know your schedule, but I used to go up there early before Sunday morning, and I would jog up to the church, or I'd go up and do stuff. I know, it's crazy stuff.
that
again.
hill, man.
But you'd see their cars out there 2 or 3 hours before service.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
in there
Oh, yeah.
practicing.
Yeah.
They're in there practicing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there was weeknights we'd be in there too.
Yep.
I went to a church whenever I was growing up. You remember the church I went to, but it was a big Holy Roller church, and music was a major part of that church.
Yeah.
And you know, I tell you what, they had some great musicians out there. I've played in church some. I don't. If I would, and I would play in church again. You know, I mean, I just did here within the last year. I played in church, but I didn't want to like join the church band.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, right now, just not because of the church, but because of just what music is right to me right now. You know, I'm not right now. I don't have a lot of time to put into music, and
Well,
that's like
and
a
you're
different.
in the rap country right now. So
Yeah, I'm in the rap country right now. I was
almost
into
went full circle now.
Yeah, I took a deep dive into Sturgill Simpson and those guys too. And have you listened to Stapleton's new album?
Nah, it's not my
Yeah, it's not your thing,
not my genre.
dude. It's good. I took a deep dive in bluegrass too. Man, I'm into bluegrass. Son. Tony Rice, my God.
You know, I think once I
Same bush.
ping on somebody, I kind of stay right with that. Now, if you're talking generational stuff, you guys talked about Nirvana and
You were probably
Pearl Jam.
Guns N' Roses.
No, I'm going back deeper than that. And once I stayed with them, now those bands were all popular when I was, I don't know, I would say growing up or whatever. But with me, it was Bad Company, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd,
You're in that
and
zone,
I still enjoy
late 70s.
hearing them.
Yeah.
Because that's when I was kind of coming around. You were starting to get your social life was
Yeah.
expanding. You were starting to look at girls.
Yeah, phases were
You're
happening.
taking them on dates, and that's what you just.
Did you say Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd?
Floyd
Yeah,
fan?
I love.
Oh, man.
love Pink Floyd.
That stuff will take you on a journey too.
Yeah.
Lord, you guys need church.
Where are you going with this, Pudge?
dark,
Hey,
bud.
I'm just saying.
Man.
On bluegrass. I don't know if you
I'm
call
over here
these
listening to
guys.
some good old bluegrass. They're over there listening
Pink
to this
Floyd
dark
was,
stuff
Pink Floyd was the tool
of his generation.
of that generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went back and tried to dive back again in that stuff.
Tool, I'm just not into them anymore.
Now
man.
Pearl Jam I can get into
Well,
for a minute.
you got Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah. All that. And it's funny because I listen. Sometimes I'll flip over to the classic rock, and I think that's not classic.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm classic now. Bluegrass is Old Crow Medicine Show. You guys have heard
Newgrass.
these guys. Newgrass.
Newgrass.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, for
there's
some
bluegrass
reason,
and there's
I'll
newgrass.
pass up a lot of stuff, but bam, I like those. I
Now
like those
I'm gonna
guys.
get scolded from my bluegrass buddies, the Darty boys, or Alan Darty, Woot Darty, and Dave Carell and Harry Coon and Jeremy Sharp. They taught me this.
Is this the Red Brush
Uh-huh.
boys? Yeah.
I played with them some, and we had a band called Hay Creek Revival, and it was I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was great, and it was kind of newgrass. It was like it's more of like a country with like bluegrass instruments, but see, like true bluegrass,
Yeah.
you can't be mic'd up. Well, you can be mic'd up, but you can't be plugged in. So like if you go to a bluegrass, like a true bluegrass show, and they
Okay.
see you plug a 1/4-inch jack in the back of your guitar, that's out. They want a microphone like this, and they want you playing by that mic, and they want to hear the real sound of that guitar.
All at once.
Yeah, because even if you're just running straight into a board, you've got some sort of digital effect. You know what I'm saying? I mean, wouldn't you agree on that? I mean, you're never getting just the true sound
yeah.
out of it. But hey, not to change the subject, you boys see, we got to talk about this, and then we'll wrap it up. We're about 2 hours in.
About 145.
1:45. So, but we got to talk about it. Do you see where they banned old Trump off of all social media?
Yeah.
What do you think of it? We ain't got to get political. I'm not asking that. I'm just saying, like, I talked about Cousin Adam. There was a person, I'm not even going to mention the gender. Yesterday, I watched this shit show happen on the Book of Faces, and I realized that I was much better off to just go for a hike.
Yeah.
And
The Book of Faces is a depressing. It's an aggravating platform these days.
so I
man.
watched two people that have known each other for probably 30 years every bit of 30 years that have been, I'm sure that whenever they saw each other, there was pleasantries. I'm sure they've since moved, in different directions as far as geographical location. So I'm sure they don't see each other maybe once every 20 years. But there's no doubt in my mind if those two people would have met face to face at Walmart, it would have been a great interaction, and that person would have been your friend. And I watched yesterday in one Facebook post an entire friendship go down in flames.
Implode, yeah.
Over something that should have over something that they could, if they would have been face to face, they could have worked that out and been. But the way that the punctuation in the sentences and the commas and everything, there's so much jargon involved with all that. I mean, it was. I looked at that and I watched this and how vicious it got, and I thought, oh my God, man, people need to relax.
Yeah.
I had a buddy call me earlier today, and he was tore up about it. He was like, "Are you seeing what they're doing and how they're doing this cancel stuff?" Or and I said, "No, I haven't." And I said, "Man, you got to be real careful right now that you don't take too deep a dive in that, because you're a conspiracy guy. You'll be as involved in this stuff as you want to be. This is no different than what happened at 9/11. Now, I'm not going to say our country's not in bad shape, and maybe I'm going to get scolded here for saying this, but to me, I'm looking at the emergency situation, not style. It's not the same thing. I totally get it, but I'm saying as far as the United States awareness of society, or however you want to say this, I'm saying your feelings of what's going on, or the way you feel right now, nothing really feels much different right now. Now I'm saying 9/11 you didn't get over. No, but a lot of people are still not over that. But like 9/11, the country went through about 24 hours of standstill time, in my opinion, to where progress stopped. Everybody didn't know what to do. And that's what I told my buddy. He's like, "What's going to happen?" And I said, "You know what's going to happen? You're going to keep going. This is what we're living in now. You're going to have to adapt. Progress hasn't stopped." He was like, "Well, they're going to, what I'm afraid of is they're going to change this." And I said, "Oh no, they're going to change it." I mean, that's just what goes on. So I'm going to choose to kind of bow out of everything that's going on right now.
You got to stay away from it. You have to, because it's depressing. And what
Both
gets
sides.
me, people can, behind their little keyboard, there's no threat of getting punched right in the mouth.
Yeah.
So a lot of things these people are saying, they wouldn't say to your face.
And I'm not, and this is where everybody's going to think that you're a redneck for saying that. Okay.
Thanks.
He's the bad one, guys. I've been trying to tell you this all these years. I love everybody.
I love everybody.
I've always been known as the most nurturing individual on the planet. Okay. But what I'm saying, I forget where I was going with that. What did you say? Oh, so you said, people get punched in the face. You are not meaning about a post. You're meaning whenever that thing flips to the comments and the back and forth interaction. That's what you mean. Because people think, they're like, well, I wouldn't get I'm not going to get punched in the face. This is free speech over this post. If I want to make this post, that's free speech.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
And scroll right past it if you don't like it.
I think these social media companies need to take away comments.
Yeah.
Post away.
Yeah.
You can see it. I can see what you posted. But this whole interaction thing
toxic,
that people
man.
are doing right now.
It's toxic.
I mean, and the way that they're communicating.
It doesn't promote unity. It promotes.
It's division.
Yeah,
And
it's
hey,
polarizing.
I'm not saying that the president did anything to help that situation. I think he's kind of a loose cannon on social media. I'll be anxious to see. I'm not talking political parties, but I'm anxious to see what the new president does when it comes to his interactions on social media. Is he going to do that I mean, there are two different styles of guys. Number one, you've got a guy that's not near as hot-headed, okay? A guy that's not near as, wham, in your face. You've got a guy that may sit back. He's just different style guy. No, I'm more the other way, quick and hot-headed. You're calm and collect. So are you, So I'll be anxious to see how they interact on social media and if they provoke. But
Well, regardless of what kind of characterizations they bring to it, or how they brand themselves on social media.
You think they should
And this
use
is
it?
me going the conspiracy part of it. I don't trust the platform.
I don't either.
If I didn't
it's
have to
biased.
use Facebook for my business to promote, because you do. Here we had this talk last time I was here. It's phenomenal, but and then it goes into the narrative and so on and so
Well,
forth.
did you see the carryover into today, where they gave certain companies today until midnight tonight, or they were going to reject their .com status? Did you see that? Like, this is all secondhand information, but maybe I'm wrong, Tyler, you might be able to help me out this because you're a computer guy. So let's just say that you were a Trump supporter, okay? And I'm just talking, okay? And
You can say it.
if you were a Trump supporter and you had a big company and you were vocal about that, they are now threatening to take away your .com status because of your, I don't know if that would be server, what would that be, or your carrier, your online carrier?
What's your domain name? They could take
Domain.
that from
So
you.
who owns it? I mean, I know that like you own a domain name if you buy it. So who's ultimately in control of that domain name?
Well, I mean, it totally depends. I know a lot of what's going around today, the new social media platform, if you will, Parler, where everybody's going for like political stuff. They're hosted on Amazon Web Services servers.
Yes.
Well, they're giving them the boot. Like, hey, we're not hosting your platform anymore. Find a different service to hold.
Amazon is telling Parler that?
Yeah, Amazon Web Services. So it's
Why?
because of all of the political
Because
stuff
of the
going
political
on.
stuff. Because Parler, are they wanting to be like a primarily right wing hangout, social hangout?
That's the general idea of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's where the current president
so
has
they're
gone.
so
for-
basically they're saying that you can take your political stuff to Parler and you guys can form your own unity over here and support your party.
yeah.
And that's what I think. We were talking about. I was talking with this same guy today, Shane Runyon, so it was, and we were talking about maybe Facebook and Twitter and those guys do take politics out of it. It all depends on the mission of the platform. So like, I don't know what Facebook's mission is. What was the purpose originally? What is their purpose right now? Is it for friends and family? Because
I would say that's what they originally started out as. That's what they're.
where could you find that? I mean, on the you could Google.
You ever
that.
watched the movie Social Network?
Yeah, but I mean, I would like to look directly at Facebook and see their mission statement and say, because if they're friends and family, you have to get to 5,000 on your personal page before they turn you into a like button instead of an add friend. So like, if it's friends and family, then maybe we need to really adjust how businesses are marketing on there, as well as political beliefs. And does anybody truly have 5,000 friends and family? If you really got down to, I mean, I'm sure I know 5,000 people, but I mean, do they do like everybody's got them? I mean, you got people on your social media. I mean, I have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
Now, what I've noticed, like Instagram. Now, I'm not saying Facebook doesn't have a place, but I mean, I'm not saying that I don't support them possibly taking politics out of it. I don't know how they're going to they're forming that, but like if they're doing that with both sides, then hey, let's roll. But if they're just going to push a certain agenda, I don't know about that. Then you get into the Parler, and then I mean,
I think they're walking a fine line between the First Amendment.
Yeah.
but I mean, they're private companies though, so I mean.
Yeah, but if you go that route, if they can make their own decisions because they're a private company, can companies in LA open their business right now because the government's telling them to shut down?
Hey, Tyler.
I'm just saying.
Right on.
I'm not taking a side. I'm
Right
just in general.
Right on. I'm telling you, this is a
I'm not
crazy.
supporting one side or the other.
I'm not either, man. I'm just kind of here for the ride, and I'm trying to feel my way through the weeds.
Yeah.
But, I mean, your business really hasn't been affected by it yet, has it?
Oh yeah, it got stopped in its tracks. It's starting to grow. Are you talking about COVID? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And the restrictions. Yeah, we got stopped in our track.
Are you back
And,
to you're back to classes though?
We're having one class, but as far as the seminars and traveling around
yeah.
doing that, Sharir, he's trapped in Israel.
Yeah.
We had 2 tactical sessions which is another area. But we had 2 tactical sessions scheduled, and we had to postpone those twice. Now I've got them rescheduled for April, and we're going to see if they kick off or not. Now the other area I was talking about is related to that, but it's tactical. So not only have you got now you got Second Amendment issues coming into this, and I've personally experienced. I don't want to call it games, but you feel like you're being gamed with by the content. I'll have to go back through and scrub words. Maybe you can't use the word weapon or knife. Or
they
handgun.
jerked me off of something the other day from my son and his BB gun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're
Did you
trying
see that? Was it Facebook?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
And I have to go to an appeal. And this is the behind the scenes that a small business. People don't realize this, that you have to kind of lock horns with them over something this trivial when it's just. Instead of setting up your
I had to
keyword
challenge
indicators,
our promotion not long ago, remember? Because they banned us for...
Yeah, we've noticed that we're having trouble with the word bartenders.
so
They're not putting us, or they're not allowing us on certain things because of the word bartenders. And just like Gibson being shut down with that BB gun.
Next, the word chubby will be outlawed because it's
degrading.
It's a degrading. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'll be a
man.
millionaire. Every time somebody calls my name, they're just making fun of me.
Poof. There you'll be.
I'll have some punitive damages claims out there.
I think
You'll see pictures of me all over town eating donuts.
The frustrating part for me is that as
They forced me.
a small business owner, you really became dependent upon the power of
their-
social media
But there
to
again
push
is-
it out there,
is-
and it's like darn.
but it's
now they've
theirs.
tightened the reins on you. And it's like
If
I'm
you
not
were
doing anything.
If you were advertising in the Dispatch, and they didn't like your content, they wouldn't publish it.
yeah.
And that's essentially what this has all turned into. At the end of the day, it's a different version of
just
what we've
never-
always had.
We've just never seen it before.
Yeah.
And now it's come to a head.
I mean, I don't think I'm being selfish. I think I'm being shrewd and saying I want to advertise for free. You've said I can do it. Now I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even have a problem boosting my post now and then if I think it's going to target a certain
Yeah.
area.
Well, I think you're going to see the reins pulled way back on that stuff. I think you're about to see. Maybe you agree with me, but I think they're starting to figure out these tech companies or these social media platforms are starting to figure out ways that they can capitalize. They've been kind of navigating through this too, and now they're starting to figure out ways that they can capitalize on the ad services. And you run into a subscription model or an ad model. So like there's some models that are based off of, hey, you pay me, like Spotify, for example, you pay me $8.99 a month. And we're going to give you podcasts. You can get on comedy. You can get on music. So think of all the entertainment avenues that you have for that subscription. Now, that subscription is as good as what they offer you. Okay, so you can jump on it. They want your content because they're just selling mass amounts of content.
Yeah.
So am I right? So they're just, and Apple, same way. So if you have an Apple account, a lot of these places are. So you can, just like us, we can upload our stuff to those avenues, for free, or those platforms for free. However, if you want to listen to it, now you've got to pay. So now that's a subscription base, where like a YouTube situation would be now like even YouTube, they're blending in, like you can do $8.99, unlimited YouTube, or
YouTube TV they're offering as well.
YouTube TV, which honestly it's a great tool.
Yeah.
I've been watching the majority of my entertainment on YouTube. I don't know about
Everybody
you guys.
Everybody is.
I mean, I watched the ball drop. I watched the Ohio State, or did I watch the Ohio State game? I think I did. I mean, I'm not real sure, but just there's lots of these avenues. So YouTube is ad and subscription. So they're paying. They're having companies pay them. I saw a local company. I think it was Holzer. I saw on YouTube the other day, and I saw they had ads on there, and I think it'll get to a point like, me personally, so we've picked up sponsors on this show, okay? And I just wonder how long they will let us do that, as opposed to making them go through them to do that.
YouTube.
Yeah, to do that. And I mean, that may not happen soon, but it might be within the next 5-10
Well,
years.
if you were to land a big sponsor like Stanley, for example, I think they're going to want a piece of that action.
I don't know how they'd know.
Well, we might be surprised what they know. And I'm not here. I go back into the
And
conspiracy thing.
they'll probably have some kind of AI, artificial intelligence, that can scan the audio files.
It's an algorithm, yeah. I mean,
Well, there's something because they can they can stop a video right in its tracks.
Yeah.
As far as uploading, like you just can't put anything on there. And I mean, it ain't like it's going to get on there and whenever that guy comes back to work Monday, he'll pull it. It's a matter of that thing
That's
gets
right now.
jerked. It's right now.
Look how quick anti-piracy law will kick in. Copyrighted music.
Oh yeah.
Boom, right. They don't even let you to launch.
I listen to a guy on YouTube all the time, and like Bo Jiden, that's what he says his name is, because it misses the algorithm. Because if you say the real name, that picks you up. And there's all kinds of words, and he's like, and he'll, about every 30 minutes, he's like, listen, guys, I'm not an idiot. He's like, I know I'm mispronouncing a lot of these words. He's like, that way I'm skipping the algorithm.
Yeah.
Because they've shut him down time after time, And so it's something to think about, you doing this.
Oh, yeah, we've seen it.
We've
seen it firsthand. It's like it'll tell us whenever we tag certain things. Tyler's the genius behind all that.
Yeah.
But
I even sent you some info there earlier.
Yeah. So now they're demonetizing.
Who did?
He did. He sent me a clip today that YouTube is it YouTube? Yeah, YouTube is demonetizing videos that talk about COVID.
Yeah.
We've already talked about COVID. So
and that's another word. That guy calls it the crown virus.
Yep.
Yeah.
It misses the algorithm, and I'm like,
and I wonder how they know if we say it, or I wonder if it's the tag.
I think a little bit of both.
yeah,
Could be.
Yep.
Yeah. The tags are
you always
crazy.
you always have the human element out there too. If the algorithms miss it or something,
Somebody can report it.
you've always got there's always going to be another mechanism to come around and capture that.
Yeah.
And I'm just going back into some of the overseas chats and stuff when you've got someone actually sitting there, okay, oh, boom, there it is, Bin Laden. See if they mention a location. Not that we were ever at that level, but it's that kind of monitoring.
But they were always. I would think it would be 10 times harder. Maybe I'm wrong. I would think it'd be 10 times harder to pick up like this digital signal because it's like a lot of it's so wireless.
If it's here's my rule of thumb, Pudge. And I'm not, Tyler. I'm not. But
back then, you would
just
have
from
been
being
tapping
exposed
into
to
hard
something.
wires.
What if we're at this level here?
Yeah.
Trust me.
Intelligence
agencies are already 10 steps ahead.
Oh yeah. Hell, they knew we had an appointment here
The
tonight
thing
before
about
we
it
did.
is, for when you get into they shouldn't be listening to me.
I saw a drone flying over the top of the building a couple hours ago. Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Conspiracy.
Here we. To close this out, my closing statement is going to be: I think we're on a slow burning fuse to a big bang.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
I think this is not going to go away quietly.
Yeah.
I think frustrations are going to be. I think confusion is going to feed into frustration and morph into it at some point in time. There's just a lot of things happening.
I've my thought process changes every day. I'm sure this show you could go back and track all the stuff I've thought.
I'm embarrassed to say that my news source because I quit watching news last fall when it started hyping up on the election.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sad to say that. It's hard to say, oh, well, there's Pudge. Yeah, there's Tyler, And then you get some blurb, oh, that looks interesting. Facebook has become my north source because I'm on it, managing the business and doing stuff. Not the most reliable source. But, yeah, I think I just keep saying I think we're on a slow burn here.
I told somebody my thought process has shifted again this week. We have seen an unbelievable amount of phone calls about renting Park's Edge. So I mean, not unbelievable, but a big shot in the arm compared to where we were, and people and it's for February. Typically, January is always slow. February though kicks right back into full gear, and I feel like at bar wise, I feel like maybe I think it's going to come back. I really do. It's starting to build back up again. There again, you don't know what's going to happen with the numbers going forward, so they may, but it looks like things are going to start coming back, and I worry that whenever they come back that everybody right now isn't so angry that maybe they don't need to be out in public. Because there's a lot of anger right now. I feel like everybody's really pissed off. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like everybody's just mad.
I think 2020, if I had to categorize it, or if I had to label it with one word, division.
Yeah.
It was the year of division.
Yeah.
You talked about September 1/1 happening. Mm-hmm. People came together.
They did. That's the difference in this one.
They came together, man, and like now everybody is so they're fused, like short fuse.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, they're mad, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's so.
If I it's almost like people aren't allowed to disagree anymore.
Oh no.
We just can't disagree, shake hands, and walk away.
I think you need to turn the comments off, bud. That's where it's coming from.
Instead, it's us cussing each other out
Yep.
on social media.
Yep.
And then it's oh man, it's sickening. It's
It
sad,
is,
dude.
It is.
It's depressing.
I don't
Is
like
what
it.
it is.
I don't like it at all. What do you think of this Jake Paul and so Jake Paul's fighting Floyd, or is Logan Paul's Floyd Mayweather, and Jake Paul is fighting Ben Askren in the MMA. Did you see that?
I know who Ben is.
The YouTube.
But I'm totally off the.
Okay, so here's what's happening in mixed martial arts sports right now, or boxing, or whatever you want to call it. So 2 YouTubers from Cleveland, Ohio, Jake and Logan Paul, are brothers. Which one's the oldest
Oh,
one?
wait a minute. These are those guys that make those funny. They went to OU. Am I right?
Did they go to
I've
the
seen him
Logan
make videos.
Paul, he does a bunch of goofy stuff, right?
Yeah, Logan Paul.
They're twin brothers.
They went to
No,
OU?
they're not. They're not twins.
I've seen their videos.
Did you say they went to OU?
They've been made at OU. I recognize campus.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
Logan
if
Paul
it's
was
the
OU.
two brothers, they're twins.
Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather, and Jake Paul is fighting.
Have you got a picture of
yeah,
these guys?
yeah. And
That's them. That's them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were there from 2013
Oh, boy.
to 2014.
You believe that? You think that's
At
true?
OU.
What?
That they're actually going to fight?
Oh, yeah, it's booked. It's done.
It's a big money fight.
It's a big money fight. He offered.
goodness.
So Jake Paul offered Conor McGregor $50 million to fight him. $50 million.
I'd kind of like to hit Conor McGregor, to be honest.
And
with
this is.
you. I wouldn't want him to hit me back. But I want
It'd
to
have to
hit
be a
him.
good one.
These are YouTubers. Okay, now
Oh yeah.
they are fighters. They're professional fighters.
Yeah.
They are. Logan Paul, the one fighting Floyd Mayweather, he's like 2-0 or 3-0 as a boxer, and then Jake Paul, the one that fought, is fighting Ben Askren or whatever his name is. He's the one that knocked out that Nate Williams at the Tyson fight.
Wow.
Okay,
I had no idea.
And so Nate Williams, this
See,
was like
I never saw that
This
footage.
was you didn't see? Did you not watch Tyson fight?
No.
Oh, we should have rented it.
Stiffed him up, didn't they?
Oh yeah, knocked him out. So this YouTuber steps up from Cleveland, and Nate Williams was a basketball player for I think 6 or 7 seasons in the NBA, and like they had some sort of social media beef, so they challenge each other to this fight, and it's a full go fight, and they gave themselves like 3 or 4 months to train for it. Well, this Jake Paul guy goes in there with this NBA basketball player, and I mean they fought. Okay, Jake Paul deuces him up, chins him. Out. Okay.
Is this MMA or is this boxing?
This is boxing at the Tyson fight.
Okay.
This was the prelim. This was the pre-fight. This was the main event up to Tyson.
Okay.
Okay. So they had some like amateur bouts.
Celebrity type stuff.
Yeah. So then this guy, he knocks out this pro basketball player. I couldn't do it. So I mean, I was kind of impressed with him, and but I don't know, you go find a guy like Conor McGregor. Now there's like a 50-pound, probably 40-50-pound weight difference maybe from the looks of things. I don't know how much it truly is, but it's a money thing.
Yeah.
It's a money thing. I mean, 50. So if a guy offers you 50, Scott, if a guy calls out and says, "Hey, buddy, I got
take a fee down for that.
I got 50 mil. I'm getting knocked
Come
out.
on, maybe I'll get lucky.
Yeah,
Look over there, bam.
I'm coming out there chin up.
Here's an interesting from the business side of this. Now, I can't believe I know who these boys are, but I do because my kids would watch them and they'd say, "Look at this video, Dad," and it was funny, and it was usually, it's always PG-13. They're ornery, not dirty,
Yeah.
and it had the OU connections where I graduated from. So I remember looking at these guys thinking, well, they're athletic. Yeah, they're doing backflips and the way they dance and swim. And you can think someone, hey, they can move, they can use their body. But here's the interesting part of this: these Paul brothers. I bet their following is huge. I bet it's
Probably 10 million, I'd say, between two of them.
huge. So they're going to
I mean, Joe
they're going
Rogan.
to tap into that.
Joe Rogan is probably one of the most followed individuals out there.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
in
he's at what, 5 million.
2017, Jake Paul hit 10 million subscribers on YouTube.
So his monthly check
And
off
these
of that.
guys, these subscribers,
It's
I'm going
probably-
to guess based on age range, just based on they're not going away anytime soon.
No.
As long as they're producing, they're going to have dedicated followers.
What would your income be like at 10 million followers on YouTube?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head.
I can tell you.
Well, if you can pay Conor McGregor offer 50 mil to face him, then I'd say it's pretty healthy.
Hey, I get punched.
I bet he's
right
getting
in the
two.
throat for 50 million.
Well, and I mean, I'm just talking. This is just off your subscribers. I mean, at that,
I just swing and just pray to God I just hit him right in the right spot, and then he clocked me right in the Adam's apple. And
dude,
dropped
they were talking about his striking ability is so precise.
me. I'd say so.
And I've been watching it.
And he's
man,
quick. He's quick.
I tell you, another guy I really like to watch is Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
Them Diaz brothers, those guys were
They bring the
ruthless.
street to it.
Was it Michael
They do.
Bisping?
Yeah, Bisbee.
Michael Bisping, yeah.
He's a tough Brit.
He was back whenever he was on that, it was like a real world / MMA.
The tough.
Was it
The Ultimate Fighter. Yeah.
Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, he was on there. He was a
He'd
pretty
coach
tough
these
kid.
teams.
I like to
Yeah.
watch Anderson Silva. I like him, and I like
I just found out that
Israel Adamanyu or whatever his name is. I like him.
dude, what's his name? Kimbo Slice. I thought he was still alive.
Well, no, he's been
No,
dead probably
it's a
10 years, I
couple
bet.
years. Has it been that long?
Have you seen him street
Probably
fight?
5 or
Yeah,
6.
I've seen old videos.
Dude,
I know.
I mean, there's blood everywhere, man. Looks like
But-
somebody got murdered.
Here's the difference. Hey, I'm not saying that guy wasn't a badass, but I'm
I
saying
wouldn't
when he
fight
got
him.
in that cage, there's some guys checked him up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those guys. I mean, that just shows you how mean those guys are that are in that cage.
There's
if they got you on the, they know that stuff you do.
Those guys are in a different pond. You go down to the ground with them, like we talked about last time. I don't want to turn.
They
this
can
into
look like
another-
they're not moving and have you in such a hold that you're paralyzed.
Oh shit! It's like-
Hey, if you want to watch something a little more primal, there's a thing called street beefs. You ever seen street beefs?
No. Are you watching kids beat each other?
These guys know. These
Are you
these
watching
grown-
high school kids?
These are like prison inmates that just get out.
See how dark he is?
If
Folks,
they're-
I'm trying to say, I'm the good one. I'm out there watching, Mystery Playdate with Ryan with Gibson. We're watching Dinosaur Land Before Time.
I'm watching
David's
street
out
beefs.
there watching street beefs. I told
Listen,
you, I'm a teddy bear in this
These
bunch.
guys pummel each other, bud. And this is like a backyard, and they have this chain link fence set up, and they got like
Oh, yeah.
hand-drawn
I have seen this.
signs. It's like stock room 601.
spray painted.
Like their sponsors are like hand drawn. And dude, I mean,
that's
and-
raw right there. I
dude.
mean,
Yeah, and these guys get in there, take the shirt off, and the guy will be like, "All right, go," and they just pummel.
and it's
I'm
on.
going to give you an idea right now. It just hit me. Now, and David will. You know David probably better than you know me. Okay, so he's got kids my age, my kids' age. I don't know why none of you have, and maybe you have, but I'm saying I don't know why anybody hasn't like brought these kids in like as a like the old Cobra Kai dojo thing, and like teach these kids some of these crafts, because I think that's what's scary as a dad, like I'm just giving topics here. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not something that really worries me a whole lot, but I think kids are different now, but. I worry about, these kids nowadays. And I mean, if you're a guy that, or if you're, I think I know what to do. And I mean, you think you teach your kid, the main thing you teach your kid is how to react in situations, and it's not with violence, but I also want him to know that if you, like we were talking about bullies. He was watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and he was like, "Did you ever see bullies, Daddy?" And I mean, what do you tell a kid? I mean,
Yeah.
because I mean, I know I got bullied a couple times, and I'm sure everybody did. Yeah. And whenever you have a bully like that, or if a kid is getting bullied, what do you tell them? Do you tell them to go tell the teacher, or do you tell them to hit the guy in the nose? I mean. And I know what your wife will tell you to do, because, and then
My wife would probably tell
your wife probably would, yeah.
Max Gillum to hit a kid in the nose,
Well,
and Max will.
And Mindy's, she's not like that. As far as my wife's not a type that she doesn't believe in that. I'm not saying I do believe in it, but I'm also saying I don't think a kid should have to go to school scared.
Yeah. I agree.
You know,
Absolutely agree.
You know,
it would suck. I've been that kid. It would suck.
That's a fine line that I have to deal with when I go into the schools to do, well, really when I do the kids seminars. Mm-hmm. And there have been times that I've thought, wow, because personalities quickly jump out and you learn who's who and you kind of get a feel for it. And I thought, am I making them a better bully, or am I teaching the rest of them how to protect and defend? And you always go through, there's a step process, but sometimes I say, look, it's the reason we're here is because, when you get cornered in the bathroom or the back seat of the bus, or I'm trying to think, because that always happens.
It's going to happen.
It's
going to happen.
Like everyone's going to have a car wreck, everyone's going to get bullied, everyone's going to have
at some point or another,
a tooth filling fall out. These are just some things that are going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And, it's a fine line because you don't want to scare them, but at the same time, you don't.
You want them to have the confidence,
and that's hard to build in just one session. One or
well,
two
I'm
sessions,
saying like that's what I'm saying. I don't know why anybody hasn't done yet like a, no different than baseball, and just say, hey, we're going to go once every 2 weeks, and like make it more of like or once a week, or it can only be a half hour.
I'll tell you something, Pudge. Here's my thoughts on this, and I've thought about approaching. I've kind of talked about it. Maybe I just haven't been direct with Judge Skaggs, with Justin Skaggs coming up juvenile court.
Yeah.
But I've talked about it with Tim Harvey at the Y and stuff, and I said, look, to treat not so much to treat the symptom of, teach people, you still need to know that, but I'd rather peel another layer off and treat the cause. And
you might get some respectful kids out of that.
Give me the juvenile delinquents. Give me the guys who have been popped for fighting and all this stuff. And I said, I'd like to start a mentoring program and work with them.
Yeah.
And I'm not teaching them how to fight. You're just teaching them how to be a good person.
But what if you beat it to the punch, okay? And what if you, rather than taking that kid, it's no different than trying to fix up an old car, okay? You get an old car and it's about half shot and it's had its fair share of dents and dings and it's been in the shop a bunch. I'm not saying that this. I always believe in helping people, but I'm saying like, what if there was some sort of program like the old YMCA's where you could go in there and like work with a boxing guy, work with like MMA now. I don't give a damn what anybody says. It's a sport.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm surprised we haven't seen it pop up, more local than we have. But like, I mean, that is a true sport. Yes, you can get hurt just the same as you can get hurt in football, basketball, baseball.
Whether it's MMA or
Krav Maga
or deer hunting,
or something,
or anything. I mean, I think it's just like the computer that Tyler's with. You told me when you guys brought that in, that was an old system and you wiped it clean, and now it's performing to do exactly what you want it to. You have kind of reprogrammed it, repurposed it. Now, I'm not trying to trivialize our youth, but I think sometimes maybe if you just invest yourself and show them a better way.
Yeah.
Maybe listen to them. Show them you care. Invest yourself
Get
in
them
them, and you
step
might
one.
be surprised the return you get.
Yeah, get them step one instead of maybe 10 steps down the line.
Well, if nothing else, I think it might be worth something. It's worth a shot for us, if just to set someone down and say, look, man, here you got in some trouble the other day. You can't be going around beating people up. I'm just going to be direct with you.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Come down here and let's
you're paying for
let's
it.
do it the fun way.
There's options here. You don't have to be a big tough guy.
Let me work
by
with
doing
you.
that. Man, there's a lot of stuff we can do. And you know what? I don't know what the answer is, but we can go on that journey together.
Yeah.
And start, because if we're not investing, look at where we're at. We've spent the last 45 minutes talking about
violence.
Everyone running their mouth on social media and
Sure. What's your thoughts with the kids? Because your kids are the same age as Gibson. I mean, when it comes to, you're not a violent guy. Your family's not violent people.
Christian is just he's just a non-confrontational kid, period. Max is kind of raw.
He's aggressive.
Max is aggressive.
I wouldn't call him like a violent aggressive.
He's not a bully by any means.
No, gosh, he's a great kid.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But
I enjoy coaching him.
My kids have always been, I'm always like, listen, you're never going to start a fight, but if you get punched in the nose, you're going to, you'll finish it.
Yeah.
And I don't want them killing somebody.
Sure.
But I don't want them to just be one of those kids that lets people shove them around,
Gibson's at the age, I'm sure, you watched it with Christian and now Max, but Gibson's at the age where, the responsibilities are starting to come to him. And as far as like today, we, just like the BB gun last week, and we're slowly starting to get into these responsibility items. Like today, he had to go out and hold the bucket and that had the fence stretchers in it, and he had to hold them, and his job was to hand me one every time I needed one.
Yeah.
One, not the glob, one. And I thought, I was thinking, you're always thinking every time you're doing something with your kid, you're thinking about, what's this doing, and I'm a freak when it comes to that stuff. It drives me insane, I'm probably like any other dad, but it's, I was thinking, I was like, well, I'm glad he's out here doing these things, and like, I think with those young kids, I think that there's a lot to be said for giving. I'm not saying letting them. I'm not saying do what you want to do, but I think there's some roles that you can instill in them that will help at an early age. Like just as simple as standing there and holding and handing you something. Like he's going to learn. Hey, if I got to work with Dad today, I'm going to work with Dad. And I'm sure that was the first day. I'm sure it's going to get worse. But I mean, I've noticed they're very eager as long as you like challenge their mind, like. With that BB gun, I mean, he really had to work at it to start hitting the target. I mean, that was a hard thing to teach, how to shoot a gun. Like that was a hard thing how to aim, and it was just, I just noticed he's getting better and better with things.
Yeah. When he gets there, I mean, I've had parenting mistakes. I've got Maya now, who is 16, and we don't have a lot in common. I mean, but so you just try and connect.
Yeah,
find out where you can, but it's like he's really easygoing, no problem. Justice, his brother, there's a lot there we connect about, but he's also more, what I want to say, outgoing or Jeremiah,
interactive.
He's interactive. Yeah, he's content. Cat always laughs and jokes and says, "Oh my God, he's more like you than what you realize. He's content with himself. He can be, he doesn't need an audience. He's focused. He knows what he needs to do." So, but we all kind of feel our way through this parenting thing. I don't rely on Dr. Spock. That was the go-to from my parents' generation or whatever. I don't know. Now it's the internet and Facebook, but you just kind of follow your heart. And you try. But
your kids, I'd say they about went nuts. They're big into sports.
Yeah, man.
I'd say they about went nuts.
Just lockdown, though.
Yeah.
Dude, we took golf cart rides.
Yeah.
We
just
swam.
had a ball.
We had a ball.
Yeah.
We really did.
Because you didn't grow up like that. I mean, I wasn't like, I mean, I played ball, but and you did too. But like, you weren't like, you didn't get ate up in sports. You were more like death metal music.
I was into guitar.
Yeah.
I was into skateboarding.
Yeah. So this is all you're kind of going through this with them, really.
Yeah.
To an extent.
And I mean, and I'll be honest. I mean, like when it comes to like Joni's athletic.
Yeah, she was big into that.
And basketball, my Christian's ate up with basketball, ate up, and she's his basketball, like she's his go-to.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell him how to do.
Well, you're showing him other things, though. You're showing him work ethic, because, I mean, I don't care what people say about you guys. You guys do work hard. You guys work late. You guys work a lot. Now, it must be pretty easy, because he takes a lot of vacations. But you do work awful hard. So you're teaching him that. You're setting a great example by your family life, so you're teaching him that. Just because you're not the guy that maybe.
Well, that's the thing. And Gibson's watching you. He's watching what you're doing.
Sure.
My boys are watching what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Your kids are watching. That's the thing. And so, if I'm out,
COVID
running around acting stupid, then and
I went through that phase like that.
COVID. That's the only benefit that's really come out of it is the it's like the nuclear family kind of came back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like my kids. We sat down at the dinner table every night for the first time, because years prior it was always football, basketball,
grab
baseball.
a bite, eat in the car, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
McDonald's in the backseat of the car.
Yeah. Did you have Sunday dinners? Mm-hmm.
Growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we did.
Me and David did. We ate together every Sunday. I mean,
it was cool, and there was good memories.
It was good. I remember when Sundays was just total shutdown. Sundays you didn't do anything, and it was almost like nowhere was even open. You know, like, and now it's like Sunday is a day that you're like trying to find, everything, and I mean, or it's like a catch-up day or whatever. But Sundays used to just be shutter off.
Yeah.
We would ride these bike things down the sidewalk and try not to kill ourselves. I mean,
That's
what we did.
Evel Knievel was big, so we ramped everything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'd wreck, and but,
dude, when I was a kid, I would leave the house. I would not come home until dark.
till dark.
Yeah.
Or until I
And-
was hungry. Yeah.
When I was
Exactly.
Gibson's age, I was riding my bike across town.
Yeah. I'd go down to Hillcrest Pool,
Yep.
and play basketball a little bit, or I would be out in the woods. And my mom never really worried about me.
Yep.
And now, bro, it's a different world.
Oh, it's different. Yeah.
This is where he started listening to that death metal, Kathy. Okay. He was out there at a young age, probably with the wrong people. Meanwhile, I was probably at church.
I'll never forget. She found a Marilyn Manson album in my room,
And he was 7.
and dude, I was young.
He was probably 12, 11.
And she's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "I borrowed it from a friend." And next thing she knows, dude, my room is blacked out with metal posters, and I was that guy.
yeah. You were that guy.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just changed a lot, and I mean, and I'm sure it changed. I'm sure our dads, whenever we were coming up, I'm sure that it was different for them, and their dad, it was different for them, and this is just an adjusting period, And I'm not adjusting. Hell, I'm having a ball. It's just a crazy navigational way through it. But going back to the fighting stuff, I just think like some sort of like I don't want to say team, but some sort of like group or like club that they could join.
You've been
like
watching too much Cobra Kai.
I have, haven't I?
Listen.
Is that
Call
what- I
Johnny
haven't watched
Lawrence.
it yet,
Call
so-
Johnny Lawrence and Ralph Macchio, Daniel's son. They're back into season 3. They brought back Allie. They brought back Sato's.
Dude, there was a girl in the gym, and she's like, "Have you seen that?" And I said, "No." She's like, "You have to watch that."
You have to watch. Did you watch Karate Kid as a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, I was ate up with it. I had the headband. I had the gi. I've got pictures of me whenever I was like 5 in the crane kick.
You're the only other person I've heard say the word gi. Only
Nice,
certain
yeah.
people
Yeah.
know what gi is. Yeah.
That's how I was serious about my martial arts at a young age, David. Okay, I was
Over
doing
on Burlington Road.
I was doing. I
on
have a,
North Burlington.
I have a picture of me in the crane kick in front of a kerosene heater, in my
burnt
headband
the house
and
down.
my gi.
Yeah.
And I'm right in front of a kerosene heater. And I mean, I'm just looking like a.
Do you remember back? Like I remember going to the Apple Festival back in the day, and you could buy butterfly knives.
Oh yeah,
You could
I bought
buy-
a survival knife, had a compass and matches, fish stringer.
I mean, you could almost buy dynamite at the Apple Festival back in the day.
I gave Gibson his knife the other day, and like tonight I had him use it, and I thought, hell with it. I thought I was buying these at the Apple Festival when I was his age. They were machetes. These things you'd carry them on your bike.
Yeah.
And I mean, go by a creek somewhere and you'd take your matches out and just look at everything, and then you had to put it back in. It'd have a sharpening stone and the matches in it. Screw it on the end. I mean, those were machetes.
Oh, yeah.
You could buy them for $6. I said, Gibson, go for it. Said, I didn't.
We trade weapons at school, man.
Yeah. I didn't do that. See, Kathy?
Hey,
See? I keep telling people. I never did that, David. I took baseball cards. Okay? What kind of freak show
Traded
were
knives.
you guys? Yeah, David, they were trading knives, listening to death metal. I've told people this for years. They've got these identities mistaken.
You're getting a bad rap.
I get the bad
It's
rap.
David.
Yeah,
he's always got the bad rap,
This is
man.
what happened. This is what happened. They didn't. I was fat.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah. So, anything else we need to talk about? Boy, hey, try it. See what you think. Did you try yours?
It's great.
Did you like it?
I saved it, yeah.
Is that why that was laying there? Are
Yeah,
you
that's
like
yours.
giving away samples?
Yeah.
Did you make this?
I made this. This is my first my first deer jerky I've ever made.
Spicy?
No. I may have used too much salt. Do you think I used too much
No.
salt? Then it just comes down to a preference on what you like.
I don't want to make chewing noises in the microphone.
We can already hear you.
Yeah.
Pretty good, man.
It's good.
It's not great. It's not great.
I think it's fine.
I made
I
it.
can't think of anything else you could do to it.
Well, just the concoction. So, have you ever made jerky?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever made it? So,
I've seen it.
So basically, you're taking like a big slab of meat, and you're cutting it into like a piece, very similar like this pack of cigars.
It's not like a heart or anything, is it?
No. So like the pieces that I got were a little bit bigger than this pack of cigars, longer maybe, okay? And as the pieces that were cut. So then you take those and like you put it, I put it in, this is just a recipe. There's thousands of recipes. But I put it in like, it had like half tablespoon of garlic salt, full tablespoon of salt, tablespoon of onion salt, tablespoon of red pepper, half tablespoon of black pepper, soy sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and water. And then there was lemon juice. You had to put lemon juice in it. And then I just put it in the oven, go to the lowest temperature that your oven will do, crack your oven a little bit to allow that airflow, okay? And put it on there for 4 or 5 hours. It depends on how crispy you like it. I don't like crispy jerky.
I think you did that perfect for an oven. I think an oven's tougher. A dehydrator is pretty easy, but man,
I've never had.
That's really good.
So I just took a toothpick and stuck through the top of it, and then just used the rails and hung it.
Okay.
So like that marinade that I use, so I let it soak in there for about 14 to 16 hours. And I let it soak in that, and then whenever I took it out, I just kind of wrang the beef out. But I like it a little tender. I don't like real dry jerky.
Yeah.
How do you make it?
Just in the dehydrator. And it's been a long time since I've made any.
Well, what do you like? Put a sauce on there, or just salt and pepper? Or?
See, I remember using soy sauce, and it came out really salty. But there was something else, like a rub or something, some concoction you make.
Yeah.
And I marinated in that, and then just laid it out on the different trays in that dehydrator. And it was okay. The important thing to me is I like the texture. If it's too hard, I don't enjoy it as much.
If my jaw is tired, I got big old jaws.
Or you've pulled fillings out or something. Yeah. But no, that's got a good texture.
I do. I mean, hell, I've been eating all my life. Hell, I can chew with the rest of them. But if you know how it is, like you just like God, and I mean, it starts to. It's like, man, that's a lot.
No, that's
What'd you think?
Texture.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You like it? What'd you think, Todd?
I thought it was good.
You guys don't have to lie to me.
I'm more of a sweet jerky kind of a guy.
Oh, you like them spicy ones. See, death metal and spices, man. Death metal and spices are like sweet jerky. Man, we may have to call somebody. We may need to get you some help. Okay, this may be darker than I thought.
I probably do need some help.
Anybody that likes sweet jerky.
Can you get like Dr. Phil in here or something to talk to?
We need to do that. We need to do that. We got some good guests. Who's next?
I don't know.
What is today? 10th?
I don't know that either. Yeah,
the 14th is Larry Jones from Buckeye Botanicals.
And then followed by Lance Phillips.
Yeah.
Followed by an MMA fighter, Lance Phillips.
Sweet.
So then who's after that? Steven Stock, maybe?
Yeah.
Lance is from Vinton County, right?
Welston.
He's a Welston boy.
Yep.
So high.
Yeah, and then Steve Abley from Sohai is on this month.
Yeah.
And then Joe
Ingracias.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know what he does.
And then Jules.
And then Jules Stewart. So
we great lineup.
Yeah, we've got a good lineup. And February's looking good.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember it in front of me, but we had a good one with Bart the other day. Bart was cool to talk to.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, David Gillum, your local mortician, funeral home director. Scott King, Southern High Krav Maga. He is Chad Reynolds tonight. So there was not near the bourbon consumed, Scott. Chad's going to be highly disappointed in
No,
you.
it was a large. Thanks, Brad, for the large black coffee. So,
Hey, there's our sponsor. One of our sponsors
right.
there, McMunn. He big legged me. He
Hey,
wouldn't come on
JPD
tonight.
won't be circling the block waiting for you guys to leave.
I've been on the car. I drank.
All sauced
I had
up.
a shot. Did you see that?
You had one.
I had one. See?
And you're right. If your last name's Gillum,
Stay away from that whiskey,
stay away
boys.
from it, man.
Okay.
There's a switch in us,
Yeah,
and when you flip it,
bad
bad.
switch. I got to have one. That's it. I truly love bourbon, but I've realized one. So, folks, look us up on YouTube, Chubby Bartenders, Spotify at The Chubby Bartenders, and Apple Podcast at The Chubby Bartenders. So pay attention to our sponsors, Geiger Brothers, Gillum Insurance, AP Prep, and McDonald's of Jackson, Wilson, Oak Hill, MacArthur. So we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks,
See
guys.
ya.
Good night.
Thank you.